Douluo Dalu. Life or Death Pact. It begins with a forced kiss to Qian Renxue. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyright or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 401. Yu joins the battle. The four gods besiege the sea god. Oh, are you deliberately luring me to this height? Poseidon sneered. How could he not guess that Chu Ye and the other two were intentionally increasing the battle distance in order to prevent their battle from affecting the Wuhan city below? Fighting at that height will eventually make it impossible for them to focus on their full strength. Anyway, the clouds have completely blocked the view below. He, the sea god, can also kill Chu Ye without any worries. Haha, I think you have understood the gap between you and me after fighting for so long. No matter how hard you try, you can't defeat me. Angel God Qian Renxue, Rakshasa God Bai Dong, you have all become gods, the first level gods of the god realm. As gods, you are also under the control of the god realm. I'm ordered by the god realm to go down to the world to capture Chu Ye. If you stop me, you're openly defying the laws of the god realm. The sea god sneered. Bai Dong looked disdainful. Oh, god realm? God realm asked you to come down just to take Chu Ye to god realm, not to kill him, right? What you did was also against the rules of god realm. How could you really abide by the laws of god realm? Don't pretend here. Qian Renxue looked disgusted. Sea god, stop shouting. If you want to fight, just fight. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Do you really think that our power is just this? It's too early to say who will win or lose, who will live or die. Power sharing. At this moment, Qian Renxue also started power sharing. Although Chu Ye's power can reach the peak level of the second level god, that is when he borrows Qian Renxue's power and the power of the dragon god. And the power of the gods and demons of a thought, and other multifaceted amplification capabilities. Without these, Chu Ye's own power would probably be in and out of the level of the second level god, so the power he can provide to Qian Renxue is not much. But these were enough to make Qian Renxue, who was already at the peak of the second level god, barely step into the ranks of the first level god. Seeing Qian Renxue's aura and power rising again, the sea god frowned slightly. This kid has the power of the angel god, and she also has the power of the kid. These two people are really a match made in heaven. Can the power be distributed and shared? One must be solved as soon as possible, otherwise it is really hard to say what kind of moth will come out later. The sea god thought quickly and immediately launched an attack here. The two sides launched another round of fierce killing above the clouds. Yu finally couldn't help it. Now she was no longer needed to guard the bottom, and her power was enough to help Chu Ye and the others fight. Yu Secton. Give me your silver dragon spear first. Take it. Come on, Yu. Kill this hypocritical and disgusting sea god. Did not hesitate. She threw the silver dragon spear in her hand to Yu. Yu held the silver dragon spear again, and the long-lost feeling burned through her body. This was the artifact she used before, but later because N was split, she gave the silver dragon spear to N as her martial soul. Now that she has returned to the silver dragon spear, Yu's feeling instantly came up. She held the artifact tightly in her hand and soared into the sky with the spear. Although the clouds obscured Yu's vision above, as she soared into the sky, she could feel the location of the energy fluctuations of the sea god. Yu's eyes condensed, and she logged onto the sea god directly, waving the silver dragon spear in her hand and killing him. Sea god. No matter who you are, Chu Ye is the heir of the dragon god, the hope of our soul beast clan, no one can kill him. Roar. The huge silver dragon flew up, accompanied by Yu's body and the silver dragon spear, and went straight into the clouds and pressed forward. The four people who were fighting above the clouds all sensed Yu's aura. Yu's sudden attack slowed them down, but Chu Ye and Qian Renxue were the first to react. Do it. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue looked at each other and attacked almost at the same time. 8th Soul Skill, God and Demon Great Cold Snow's Sword. Angel 6 Divine Sword Technique, 4th Style, Divine Light Breaking Sky Slash. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue both launched their fastest attack skills and bombarded the sea god. The sea god reacted quickly and blocked the attacks of the two. Although Bai Dong reacted a little slower, she understood the attack direction after Qian Renxue and Chu Ye attacked, and immediately launched a powerful attack. 9th Soul Skill, Space Tearing Abyss Slash. Ha! Bang! Boom boom boom. The sea god still defended against this sudden and fierce attack, but was also knocked away by Bai Dong. The angle of Bai Dong's attack was just right to knock the sea god down to the position of Giyu, who was coming up. Silver Dragon roar. Roar. Giyu seized the best opportunity and did not let down the opportunity created by everyone. He stacked with a gun. At this moment, the huge silver dragon instantly attacked the back of the sea god. Not good. The face of the sea god changed drastically. He wanted to mobilize his strength to resist again, but it was too late. Giyu's moves were too fast. Bang. Boom. Giyu's power severely hit the sea god. Wow. The sea god screamed loudly and was hit hard by Giyu and flew into the sky. Up to now, the injuries suffered by the sea god were still not painful. This blow directly dealt a heavy blow to the sea god. Giyu's joining also created an excellent counter-attack opportunity for Chu Ye and the other two. Chu Ye, Qian Renxue, and Bai Dong also reacted very quickly. Together with Giyu's attack, they immediately launched a coordinated attack and decisively seized the opportunity to counter-attack. Bai Dong immediately launched a control-type divine skill, Rakshasa Curse Destruction. Countless Rakshasa divine powers enveloped the sea god and immediately constructed a magic circle in the air around the sea god, suppressing the sea god's gravity and trapping the sea god's body in an instant. Teacher. Hold on. Chu Ye shouted, looking at Qian Renxue. Swear. Come. Qian Renxue looked over at the same time. The two of them had a tacit understanding. With just a glance, they ran towards their opponents at the same time. Bai Dong screamed, and the terrifying Rakshasa divine power was released crazily. At the cost of a lot of divine power, she was also fully controlling the sea god to buy more time for Chu Ye and Qian Renxue. Damn it. Get out of here. Poseidon was also struggling with all his might, releasing his divine power, and was quickly breaking free from Bai Dong's control of the Rakshasa curse. Here, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue's martial souls and spirit rings had already merged. Martial Soul Fusion Technique, Angel Demon Destruction. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue's Martial Soul Fusion Technique had already been formed. It had been a long time since they had used a Martial Soul Fusion Technique that was 100% compatible between them. Chapter 402 Chu Ye, Qian Renxue's long-lost Martial Soul Fusion Technique reappears, and the sea god is terrified, and they didn't use it after Qian Renxue became the angel god. The Martial Soul Fusion skill will become stronger as the user's strength increases. When Chu Ye and Qian Renxue both reached the peak power of the second-level gods, they used it. Even they themselves didn't know how powerful it would be. At this moment, a huge angel appeared behind Chu Ye and Qian Renxue, but unlike before, this Martial Soul Fusion skill seemed to have evolved. Behind that angel were 12 wings. It was the form after Qian Renxue controlled the 6-winged Dark Angel. 6 wings of light, 6 wings of darkness. In front of the 12-winged angel, 2 huge swords, the Sword of Light and the Dark Demon Sword, had also been formed, exuding an extremely terrifying aura. Swear, it seems that our Martial Soul Fusion skill is more terrifying than hope. It's terrible. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue felt the terrifying power of their fusion, and their faces were slightly raised, because they could feel that this attack was enough to make the first-level gods fear and panic. Swear, come on. Let the old thief Poseidon see our power. This kind of power, how could it be? This made Poseidon very afraid. For the first time, a look of horror appeared on his face. Poseidon did not dare to delay any longer. He did not hesitate to consume a lot of his own divine power and instantly broke through Bai Dong's restraints. Poseidon hurriedly launched his divine skills to resist. Poseidon 13 styles, 10th style, Sunday of the Sea. A huge blue light wheel appeared around Poseidon's body. As Poseidon waved it, the main blade emitted an extremely strong light and shot out. Go to hell. The huge Sword of Light and the Sword of Darkness that condensed out also attacked Poseidon 1 or 2 seconds in advance. Hush. Bang. Boom boom boom. The two terrifying powers collided together in an instant, like a devastating explosion that resounded throughout the sky. At that moment, it felt like the sky and space were about to be torn apart. The clouds below were also hit by this energy and exploded directly into a huge circle. The power of both sides was in a stalemate. Only Chu Ye and Qian Renxue had reached the same level as the sea god, and even suppressed him a little. How is it possible? How could they have such terrible power? The face of the sea god was extremely ugly and gloomy. His power was suppressed by Chu Ye and Qian Renxue. He was a powerful sea god among the first-level gods. Go to hell. Sea god. Netherworld Rakshasa. At this moment, Bai Dong directly launched the strongest attack of the Rakshasa god. The purple-black sickle was quietly swung. In the sky, the purple-black light swept down with the swing of the god Rakshasa's magic sickle, condensing into a huge purple sickle light blade that was hundreds of meters long and slashed at the sea god. At that moment, Gyu also launched the strongest attack he had mastered at the same time, and bombarded the sea god, Poseidon, with Bai Dong. The sea god was at his wit's end, his face was filled with fear. He could only quickly mobilize the strongest defensive power of the sea god 13 styles to defend against Bai Dong and Gyu's strongest attack, so as to minimize the damage he could receive. The diversion of divine power and the simultaneous siege of multiple attacks made the sea god unable to cope. This caused the sea god's power to gradually disintegrate, and his defensive skills were also gradually broken. 3 seconds later, the sea god's power instantly disintegrated. Bang! Boom boom boom! Bai Dong's Luotosha demon scythe and Gyu's silver dragon spear first slashed and stabbed, severely injuring the sea god's body. Puff! 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 Poseidon had never been so embarrassed and miserable in his life. He was beaten like this before. Poseidon was born as a child of destiny. He was born in a family of sea soul masters with a very powerful background. He awakened his martial soul at the age of 6, and was born with full soul power and top talent. He became a soul master and practiced smoothly all the way. He easily practiced to the realm of titled Douluo and finally reached the realm of God. He also gained the faith of countless marine creatures and sea soul masters, condensed the position of Poseidon in one fell swoop, became a god in an instant, and ascended to the realm of God. It can be said that Poseidon did not have many unpleasant things in his life. If there were, he would be solved quickly. Poseidon was definitely the protagonist of his time and era. He had the aura of the protagonist and was awesome. But since he met Chu Ye, everything he did next began to become unpleasant and failed. The heir he finally found was killed. No matter how many times he protected him, it was useless. All kinds of arrangements, he couldn't kill Chu Ye. How can someone like Poseidon, who has had an extremely smooth life, tolerate setbacks and failures again and again? This makes him extremely aggrieved, uncomfortable, angry, and unwilling. It is difficult to accept all his misfortunes. It can be said that Poseidon is very similar to Tangsan. Tangsan was also a child of destiny. He was very confident and arrogant, but it was also when he met Chu Ye that things started to go wrong. However, compared to Poseidon, Tangsan was much more miserable. After all, Tangsan was completely tortured and collapsed, while Poseidon had not reached that point. But now the harm that Chu Ye and the others have brought to him has also made Poseidon completely furious. Poseidon's eyes were already bloodshot, his expression was extremely hideous and distorted, he gritted his teeth, very crazy. Very good. You are very good. Chapter 403 Poseidon, you bastard, I will make you 100 times more miserable. 1,000 times more miserable. Very good. You are very good. I am Poseidon, I have been invincible all my life. No one has ever made me so embarrassed. You have completely pissed me off. The sea god roared like a mad dog. His boundless anger was heard by all the people in Wuhan City, which was thousands of meters away. The sea god's face showed an extremely fierce expression. However, Chu Ye's face was even more fierce now. He was never afraid of the enemy's cruelty. The more cruel and crazy the enemy was, the more fierce and crazy Chu Ye would be. He said fiercely, "What if I pissed you off, old thief? Sea god, who do you think you are? Today, we will make you more embarrassed 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times. I want you to be more miserable. Die." Chu Ye roared wildly. Dark letter. I am the night. Chu Ye switched directly from the half-a-dragon form of light letter to the half-a-dragon form of dark letter, and killed the sea god madly. Ha! Poseidon frantically smashed the sword of light and the dark sword that was still stabbing at his shoulder. But at this time, Chu Ye had already slashed at him with a terrifying sword. Senlo formation, Sunday and Moon Wheel, God and Demon Sword Method Second Style, God and Demon Killing Slash. Die. Poseidon old thief. Aga. Chu Ye slashed at Poseidon frantically. Bang. Boom boom boom. Ding. Aga. Poseidon gritted his teeth and blocked with his trident, but was still chopped down by Chu Ye's sword. Angel Light Slash. Rakshasa 9 Demon Scythe. Silver Dragon Power. Aga. Bang 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 bang. Die. Poseidon. Boom boom boom. Chu Ye, Qian Renxue, Bai Dong, Ginyu, all launched the most extreme, highest intensity, and most crazy attacks. Various powerful skills, attacking again in turn, bombarding in turn, the four did not stop, full force, full speed crazy attack. Their cooperation between them is more and more tacit, seamless, directly to the limit of the rhythm of the battle. Poseidon was already severely injured by the previous wave, causing his state in all aspects to decline a lot, and before he came back to his senses in the previous wave, Chu Ye and the other four launched another crazy and fierce attack. This did not allow Poseidon enough time to adjust the battle, breathe, and respond. They could only defend, resist, and even be chopped and beaten. In this extremely unfavorable situation for their own battle situation, occasionally launching a counter-attack, even Poseidon wanted to get rid of the current battle rhythm, and find his own rhythm and battle conditions again. It was very difficult. But Chu Ye and the other four attacked too fiercely, because they planned to completely kill Poseidon in this wave. Chu Ye knew very well that once Poseidon found time to adjust his state and adjust the battle rhythm, then the battle situation would become as difficult as at the beginning. Therefore, they must take advantage of this wave of advantage and continue to expand their advantage. In a battle between strong men, one opportunity or one mistake is often enough to be fatal. At this moment, Poseidon was completely trapped in the battle rhythm of Chu Ye and the other three, and was in a very passive situation. The disadvantage of Poseidon was indeed becoming more and more obvious. Such a battle would compress the entire battle time and the rhythm of the battle situation to the extreme, and would consume very quickly. The status and strength of all people would be decided in a shorter time. But for Chu Ye and the other four, the faster they fought, the better. The longer they fought, the easier it would be to lose. In this extreme fighting situation, as long as they could expand their advantage, it would be enough. 6th solar skill, Giant Dragon Claw. 9th solar skill, God and Demon Destroy the World. Angel Divine skill, Angel Hexagram. Angel 6 Divine Swordsmanship, 6th sword, Angel Divine Slash. Bang bang bang. Boom boom boom. Chu Ye, Qian Renxue, Bai Dong, Ginyu, the four were still fighting madly with Poseidon at the highest limit of intensity. In this high-intensity fight, Chu Ye, Bai Dong, Qian Renxue, Ginyu, and Poseidon were all covered in wounds and blood. Everyone had serious injuries, both internal and external. Everyone's condition was declining at a very fast speed, but Bai Dong and Ginyu were the first to be unable to hold on. When Bai Dong released the Rakshasa curse to control and suppress Poseidon, she had already consumed a lot of divine power, and Ginyu's current strength was only equivalent to that of a mid-level second-level god. Facing an opponent who was much stronger than herself, the weaker party actually consumed much more soul power than the opponent every time they fought, so for Ginyu, every time she attacked, it was a huge consumption. Therefore, because Bai Dong and Ginyu's strength was almost at the limit, the battle rhythm of Chu Ye and the other four finally began to be out of sync, and Bai Dong and Ginyu gradually couldn't keep up with such a battle intensity. Finally, Poseidon was able to escape, and Chu Ye and the other four fought out of the predicament. The sea god first used a blow to knock away Bai Dong and Ginyu, whose strength was almost at the limit, and then used a powerful blow to blast Chu Ye and Qian Renxue back. He finally had enough time to use the power of counterattack. Your attacks have come to an end. Die. All of you die. The 13th style of the sea god's trident, the body and the halberd are united, and the stars are shifting. The sea god's trident spun in the sky, rolled it up, and swung it, compressing all the remaining power around it, as well as the attacks of Chu Ye and the other four, into a ball and throwing it out in an instant. The terrifying power swept over, and the power was so strong that everyone changed color, and a sense of death enveloped them. This was already the strongest blow of the sea god's trident, and it was also almost the second most powerful power among the powerful skills mastered by the sea god. At that moment, the four of them released their respective defensive abilities at the same time to resist. Deep Sea Demon Whale King Soulbone Skill. Demon Whale Backlash. Angel Shield. Bang. Boom boom boom. At this time, the power was already hitting them like a horror. Puff. Although Chu Ye had tried his best to devour the power that the sea god could not defeat, to share the pressure of Bai Dong and Ginyu, the power was too huge. Although Chu Ye's demon whale's backlash could absorb the enemy's energy and then backfire and strike back at the enemy, it was impossible to absorb it completely in a short period of time. It's over. Our power has reached its limit. Bai Dong and Ginyu finally reached their limit and could not eat anymore. The power of the sea god just bombarded them. Ah! Bai Bai Dong and Giyu both vomited blood violently. They were completely seriously injured and had no strength left. They were almost at the point of dying. They were instantly knocked down from the clouds. Chapter 404 Qian Renxue, Chu Ye violently choked the sea god, and the sea god screamed, "Teacher! Giyu! Mother!" Chu Ye and Qian Renxue screamed in great worry. At this moment, Qian Renxue finally called Bai Bai Dong mother for the first time. At this moment, the emotions were most sincere. Bai Bai Dong was extremely moved and touched. Her daughter finally recognized her as her mother. The last barrier between Qian Renxue and Bai Bai Dong seemed to be completely solved at this moment. "Xiaoxiu, my daughter, you finally," a tear slowly flowed from the corner of Bai Bai Dong's eyes. Her tired and pale face showed a worn smile at this moment. She also had helplessness and unwillingness. "Xiaoxiu, I'm incompetent and can't fight anymore. It depends on you next." Bai Bai Dong used her last bit of strength to scream, "Xiaoxiu, let's kill the sea god together." Bai Bai Dong's voice echoed. She didn't even have the strength to land safely. She could only fall down the clouds with Giyu's body powerlessly, and then flew thousands of meters above. Like two meteorites, they smashed into the ground at high speed. But it seemed that Qian Dalu and others were below. Seeing Bai Bai Dong and Giyu, who were already covered in blood, falling down, Qian Dalu quickly joined forces with the titled Douluo masters to rescue them. "Quick! Catch them!" "Yes!" Whoosh! Whoosh! The titled Douluo rushed into the sky, mobilizing their gentle soul power to Bai Bai Dong and Giyu to reduce the impact of their fall. Then, Qian Dalu immediately flew over, caught Bai Bai Dong and Giyu, and carefully placed them on the ground. "Healing soul masters, come here. Heal them. Quick. Don't let them die." Qian Dalu shouted anxiously. Looking at the injuries on Bai Bai Dong and Giyu, Qian Dalu was extremely worried and uneasy. They were injured so badly. Everyone was extremely worried and looked at the clouds above with concern. Can they win? "Xiaoxiu, Chu Ye back to the battle above." When Bai Bai Dong and Giyu were completely injured and knocked to the ground by the sea god suddenly laughed wildly and excitedly. "Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Without these two helpers, I see what you can do to fight me now. Ha ha ha." Just now, he was very frustrated and uncomfortable because of the rhythm of Chu Ye and the others. Now that he finally killed two of them, only Chu Ye and Qian Renxue were left. The sea god was very proud and happy. Moreover, he also believed that without Bai Bai Dong and Giyu intervening, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue would no longer be his opponents. For a while, he became too proud. But he did not realize the true effect of Chu Ye's skills close to the million-year deep-sea demon whale soul bone and the bad clash of the demon whale. This move is not a simple defensive skill at all, but a defensive form. In fact, it swallows the power of the enemy and counterattacks 80% of the power in a short period of time, hitting the enemy back. The sea god did not understand this, so when the sea god was getting carried away and laughing excitedly, Chu Ye's eyes were already filled with murderous intent. The next second, the power swallowed by the magic whale was released instantly while the sea god laughed loudly. Like a beam of energy, it instantly burst out from Chu Ye's abdomen. Hush! Bang! What? This wave of counterattack caught the sea god off guard. He could not dodge at all and could only wave the sea god trident to resist. Bang! Boom boom boom. It's actually a rebound type ability. Damn, I was careless. The sea god's face was extremely ugly. Zwir, come together. Okay. Use your strongest attack to kill this old thief sea god. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue moved again at that moment. At this moment, both of them raised their strongest aura and released their strongest attack with boundless killing intent. Transform into a god, face the deadland, rely on the white knight alone, and destroy demons for a living. God and Demon Sword Technique, third style, kill. Demon God. The terrifying sword intent seemed to cover the surrounding range of 1,000 meters. The power of light and dark faith enveloped Chu Ye. Angel God's secret. Angel, judgment. The golden angel phantom, which was condensed by the holy fire of light and exactly the same as Qian Renxue, emerged from behind Qian Renxue. The angel's holy sword was raised high, and a huge golden light column condensed by the light of judgment released by the sun fell from the sky. Under the blazing light, Poseidon's movements will become extremely slow, and the power in Poseidon's body will dissipate as fast as ice and snow melting. Poseidon is still restrained by Chu Ye's backlash as the demon whale, and can no longer deal with Chu Ye and Qian Renxue's strongest blow. His face has revealed an extremely terrified expression. No. No. The expression on Poseidon's face reversed in 2 levels, from laughing excitedly just now to an extremely terrified look now. Poseidon dog thief. Die. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue, the boundless anger sounded. Chu Ye took the lead with a sword, and slashed Poseidon's chest fiercely. Bang. Boom boom boom. Puff. Wow now. Poseidon screamed again, his chest was deeply cut by Chu Ye, Poseidon's blood spurted wildly, and the Poseidon's divine armor on his body was actually shattered by Chu Ye's power. The clouds above the huge sky were all cut in half by Chu Ye's sword. The sea god's divine armor was broken. The sea god instantly lost the power of the divine armor. Following Chu Ye, Qian Renxue's angel judgment sword also came. Puff. Way, but when Poseidon came to his senses, he instantly felt a chill on his back. He realized that Chu Ye had come behind him. This made Poseidon even more terrified. Do you also feel fear, Poseidon? Chu Ye's voice was extremely cold. The next second, another sword had already chopped towards Poseidon's abdomen. Puff. Ah. Third soul skill, 36 consecutive slashes of gods and demons. First slash. Second slash. Third slash. 10th slash. 20th slash. Puff. 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 Chu Ye roared and began to slash Poseidon frantically. Chapter 405. 12 Winged Light Angels, 12 Dark Angels, Chu Ye Qian Renxue's strongest fusion skill. The 30th cut. The 31st cut. Puff. 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 Chu Ye slashed at the sea god frantically. Bang. Boom boom boom. The body of the sea god smashed directly onto the large lawn a few kilometers away from Wuhan City. The entire lawn was smashed into a huge pit of 100 meters by the sea god's body. The sea god lay there covered in blood, motionless for a while. Damn it. Damn it. The sea god lay on the ground, his eyes were already bloodshot, but soon, he stood up again. I must cut you into pieces, let you live a life worse than death. Live a life worse than death. After such a serious injury, he can still stand up. Can't our power really kill him? Seeing that the sea god, who had been chopped and beaten like this by her and Chu Ye, stood up again, and the terrifying power was burning in his body, Qian Renxue felt a little powerless. Because, in fact, her and Chu Ye's strength and state were almost at the limit. He burned his own life source. Chu Ye's expression was serious, but at this moment, he did not feel that he would lose, and was even full of strong confidence. He sensed Qian Renxue's emotions, so he held Qian Renxue's hand and rubbed her palm gently. Swear, don't forget, we have a more powerful move. You mean, yes, that move. But can you still maintain that kind of power now? Qian Renxue said with a worried look. It's not just this sea god thief who can burn his own life source. Swear, today, no matter how much it costs, we must kill him. Eliminate him completely, otherwise there will be endless troubles. Chu Ye knew that after this battle, if the sea god was still alive, he would probably be like a mad dog, biting everywhere, no longer restricted by any rules. Chu Ye. Looking at Chu Ye's determined eyes, although Qian Renxue understood that burning the source of life to fight would have a great impact on herself, at the moment, they had no choice but to try their best. I understand, Chu Ye, then come on. Today, you and I will kill this sea god dog thief here. Chu Ye. Qian Renxue. I, the sea god High Saturn, will definitely let you die in endless torture and despair. The sea god's face was blood red, extremely hideous, angry, and full of murderous madness. Go to hell. Sea god's magic skill, Sea god's Dusk. At this moment, the sea god burnt his own life source, poured all his strength, and integrated all his strength into this strongest attack. In one go, he used the sea god trident, 13 styles combined into one, induced the sea god's power, and burst out a huge column of light. When the divine trident came out, it destroyed the world. The whole continent was shaking violently, and the sky seemed to be torn and shattered, and the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Feeling this most terrifying power of the sea god, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue both felt the suppression of death, but they still performed the second martial soul fusion. Chu Ye, even if our martial soul fusion technique succeeds, can we block the attack of the sea god? Qian Renxue looked at her man. She was actually skeptical, but if she could die with Chu Ye, she had nothing to fear in her heart. It was just that their children would be missing their father and mother from now on, and they would not be able to watch their children grow up, and Qian Renxue would be very uncomfortable. Chu Ye, believe me, we will win in the end. Chu Ye's eyes were full of absolute confidence. Okay. Qian Renxue nodded. She felt relieved, and put down the distracting thoughts in her heart. She slowly closed her eyes and began to devote herself to the fusion of martial souls with Chu Ye. Even if you merge again, it is impossible to block the strongest attack of my sea god's power. You are dead. The sea god roared. 2 bodies and 1 martial soul fusion skill. Angel of gods and demons. At this moment, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue's bodies were flashing with strong golden light and dark light. Angel of gods and demons, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue's strongest martial soul fusion skill. In the past, they relied on this battle to defeat the titled Douluo, Snake Spear Douluo, whose soul power was dozens of levels higher than theirs. Now, it must be even more terrifying. At this time, the power of the dusk of the sea god has also swept over, and the light and darkness on Chu Ye and Qian Renxue's bodies seem to be completely swallowed by the dusk of the sea god. The light of the sea god has enveloped the entire giant sky, and also completely enveloped Chu Ye and Qian Renxue. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. After confirming that Chu Ye and Qian Renxue could not avoid it, the sea god was completely excited and laughed excitedly. He was finally going to kill Chu Ye and Qian Renxue. He poured all his strength into it, burning the essence of life, and the strongest attack, the twilight of the sea god. Even the god king did not dare to take on this terrifying power. The two were only at the peak of the 2nd level god power, and they were almost at their limit. How could they possibly withstand the twilight of the sea god? Therefore, in the eyes of the sea god, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue were already dead. He also felt that at that moment, the life breath of Chu Ye and Qian Renxue disappeared, which made the sea god more certain that they were dead. Chapter 406 Killed the sea god. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Dead. You 2 damned things. Finally dead. Ha ha ha. This is what happens when you anger me, the sea god. This is what happens to you. Your death is not enough to make me feel relieved, Chu Ye, Qian Renxue. I will kill your children in a while. I will let everyone understand what the price will be for provoking me, the sea god. I will make all of you in the spirit hall fall into the fear of my sea god and die in despair. Ha ha ha. The sea god was completely excited and crazy. But he didn't know that when the sea god was enveloped by the golden light of dusk and the power came. A scepter with a flashing golden color appeared in front of Chu Ye and Qian Renxue. The golden scepter was one of the 6 gods that Chu Ye had obtained that year, the moon god. Moon god, divine skill. Guardian of the moon. Release the light of the moon god, form a shield to protect itself, and turn all the people protected in the shield into indestructible bodies, golden bodies, absolutely invincible defense, including divine skills. But the moon goddess and Chu Ye gave Qian Renxue the same resurrection armor, which only had a one-time chance. Once used, it would be damaged and would take a long time to repair itself. So, at that moment, the moon goddess's divine skill, the moon's guardian, blocked the strongest attack of the sea god. It also allowed Chu Ye and Qian Renxue to finally successfully complete the fusion of their martial souls. Everything seemed to have calmed down, and there was incomparable silence, with only the sound of the sea god's dog thief, the crazy barking of the dog. But at this time, in the golden light of the sea god's dusk that had not yet dissipated, the voices of Chu Ye and Qian Renxue suddenly came to mind. Sea god, you dog thief, you are not qualified to touch a hair on them. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue's extremely majestic, murderous, and cold voices suddenly sounded in the light of dusk when the sea god was most ecstatic and proud. Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. At that moment, the sea god was stunned and completely confused. He widened his eyes and opened his mouth, unable to believe whether he had heard it wrong. His expression was also completely horrified, and the fear burning from the heart. How is it possible that you are not dead? How can you still be alive? This is impossible. This is impossible. Nothing is impossible, despair. Now we will let you understand what despair is. Now your death is come in, sea god dog thief. The next second, Chu Ye and Qian Renxue, the martial soul fusion form of 2 bodies and 1 person, instantly rushed out of the golden light of dusk. 2 terrifying figures of gods and demons angels enveloped the entire sky. That's right, 2 figures. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue's martial soul fusion skill, Angel Demon God Destruction, has been upgraded and evolved, so their two body and one martial soul fusion skill, God and Demon Angel, has naturally evolved. You know, their martial souls are 100% compatible. And now the God and Demon Angel is no longer one but two. One is a 12-winged light angel, holding the sword of light, controlled by Qian Renxue. The other is a 12-winged dark angel, holding the dark magic sword, controlled by Chu Ye. The 12-winged light demon angel and the 12-winged dark demon angel, one exudes the ultimate light, the other exudes the ultimate darkness. The two figures have the power equivalent to the first level god. The two powers that exist together are close to the peak strength of the sea god. In other words, after Chu Ye and Qian Renxue released the demon angels, their power has already stood among the first level gods, close to the peak. Sea god, you thief, you were about to die. No, no. No. The sea god kept shaking his head, his body trembling violently with fear. He completely collapsed. His confidence, self-confidence, dignity, strength, everything, completely disintegrated at this moment, collapsed, and was desperate. He was extremely scared, desperate, and panicked, looking at the two demon angels that were rapidly attacking in the sky. Puff. Puff. Way, this time, Poseidon's limbs were all broken, and blood was gushing from his 4 broken arms. Poseidon lay on the ground, desperate and crawling forward in fear. He had completely lost the power to resist. Like a dog that everyone wanted to beat, he crawled on the ground in despair. Poseidon, you thief! How dare you want to hurt my son? My children, and hurt our spirit hall? Then we won't let you die so easily. We will chop your body off piece by piece. Puff. 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 No. No. Stop it. Ah. Screaming in despair, the gods and demons of light and darkness began to chop wildly. Every sword and every knife directly cut off a piece of flesh and bone from Poseidon's body. Poseidon was desperately chopped and stabbed by the gods and demons of light and darkness for hundreds of times. Poseidon was almost torn apart by 5 horses, and countless pieces of bones and flesh were removed from his body, but he did not die. This made Poseidon live a life worse than death, and his spirit was about to be tortured and collapsed. Go to hell now. Poseidon dog thief. Ha ha, from now on, there will be no more enemies with personal grudges in front of him, and perhaps no more people who want to threaten his family, but the road ahead is still difficult to move forward. Because Chu Ye understands that with the killing of the sea god, his crimes in the god realm may be even more serious. Those gods who don't want to see the dragon god revive and don't want to see themselves become gods will definitely use the death of the sea god to deepen their crimes and punish themselves, or even get rid of themselves. Swear. Chu Ye. Let's get up. Yes. Chu Ye and Qian Renxue supported each other and slowly stood up. Chapter 407 Threats, Chu Ye's next plan. At this time, the 2 level 3 gods finally hit some strength, and they rushed to the battlefield outside Wuhan City as quickly as possible. When they saw the extremely miserable death of the sea god, they were completely stunned. How is it possible? The sea god is dead. They were all very panicked and terrified, and their bodies were stiff in place. They all wondered if they had seen it wrong. The sea god, the powerful level 1 god in the god realm, the sea god, was actually killed. The 2 third-level gods subconsciously took a few steps back, swallowed their throats, and were extremely afraid. You actually killed the god of the sea. Chu Ye glanced at the tragically dead god of the sea, and looked at the 2 third-level gods with indifference. Hehe, the god of the sea is dead. Do you two still want to fight again, or do you know what's better and go back to the god realm? Chu Ye. Even if we can't bring you back to the god realm today, the god realm will still send more powerful gods to the lower world to capture you. You can escape for a while, but you can't escape for a lifetime. You can't avoid this disaster. You can kill the god of the sea, but can you kill all the gods in the entire god realm? Chu Ye, I advise you to take the initiative to go to the god realm with us. Chu Ye sneered. Hehe, so much nonsense. If you don't get out, do you believe I will kill you too? You. Okay, Chu Ye, the god realm will not forgive you for the crime you committed. When the god realm sends gods down next time, it will not be justice. By then, no matter how powerful you are, you will not be able to compete with the gods. Take care of yourself. After saying that, the 2 third-level gods hurriedly ran away. They were indeed afraid that Chu Ye and Qian Renxue would be their opponents, so they turned around and left. But when they left, Chu Ye's voice sounded again, and that voice seemed to be full of murderous intent, shrouding them behind. The 2 third-level gods instantly felt a chill on their backs, and their paws shuddered. Their bodies trembled violently, and their bodies stiffened in place, with incomparable fear on their faces. After today's battle, I think you should have noticed the murderous intent of the sea god towards me and what the sea god did. I hope that after you return to the god realm, you'll tell the gods what happened here truthfully. Chu Ye's words were full of strong threats. Qian Renxue also said coldly, with threat and murderous intent, "Yes, I don't want you to add fuel to the fire, and maliciously slander Chu Ye in front of the gods in the god realm, otherwise I will never let you off easily when I ascend to the god realm in the future." I understand. The 2 third-level gods were very terrified. Faced with the threat of Chu Ye and Qian Renxue, they naturally did not dare to return to the god realm and talk nonsense, because even if Chu Ye was eventually executed by the god realm, there was still the angel god and the Rakshasa god. They didn't want to be retaliated by the 2 first-level gods in the future in the god realm. Seeing that Chu Ye and Qian Renxue withdrew their killing intentions, the 2 third-level gods breathed a sigh of relief and then disappeared quickly. Killing the sea god would certainly add another crime to Chu Ye's list, but as long as these 2 third-level gods, after returning to the god realm, told the truth and didn't talk nonsense or slander. Chu Ye also had reason to say that it was legitimate defense. The sea god clearly showed his killing intent and wanted to kill Chu Ye. Chu Ye just wanted to avoid being killed and killed the sea god. It was reasonable. Chu Ye also knew that after waiting for the 2 third-level gods to return to the god realm, the god realm would definitely send the gods to capture him to the god realm. At the time, there might be dozens of third-level gods, dozens of second-level gods, or several first-level gods dispatched at the same time. No matter how fast Chu Ye grows, he can't stop the capture of the god realm. This thing is bound to happen. Whether he lets go of the 2 third-level gods or kills them, the god realm will still come. What Chu Ye can do now is to quickly complete the 7th test of the dragon god before he is captured by the gods and brought to the god realm law enforcement hall. Make his own strength as strong as possible. Brother Chu Ye. Sisters Ye. Lord Chu Ye. Your Majesty. At this moment, in the direction of Wuhan City, Qian Dalu, the elders of the worship, the elders of the title Douluo, and all came quickly towards them. Arrived first, in front of Chu Ye and Qian Renxue, with a worried look on her face. Brother Chu Ye, sisters Ye, are you alright? No problem. Chu Ye looked pale and weak, and said, help me do something. Brother Chu Ye, you said, you must do what you can. Chu Ye arranged. Now you go to Qian Renxue City as fast as possible and bring Xue Binja here. Although N was a little confused, she nodded. N understands, N will do it immediately. Then, N will leave first. Go. N left quickly and flew to Qian Renxue City at the fastest speed. Looking at N's leaving figure, Chu Ye's eyes fell on the body of Poseidon and the artifact not far away, the Poseidon trident. Now that Poseidon is dead, a first-level god, the Poseidon position is vacant. This throne is not broken, and someone will definitely fill this vacancy and become the god of the sea in the future. So, since the throne of the god of the sea will be carried by someone sooner or later in the future, why doesn't Chu Ye let the person who will carry the throne of the god of the sea in the future stand on his side? When he learned that the god of Phoenix was punished and imprisoned in the prison of the god realm, and when the god of the sea brought 2 third-level gods of the law enforcement team to the lower world to capture him, Chu Ye had an idea. That is to have more allies and friendly forces in the god realm. The road ahead is not just based on strength. He must have more say and status in the god realm, have more supporters, allies, friends, and more gods willing to help him. Only in this way, in the god realm, he will not be isolated and helpless. In the so-called rule-abiding and law-abiding place of the god realm, sometimes it is not power that is terrible, but isolation and helplessness. Being isolated, others may not dare to kill you, but if all the gods want you to die, you will definitely die. Therefore, Chu Ye wants Xue Binja to control the throne of the god of the sea and become the god of the sea. The sea god controls the power of the sea, which is composed of ice and water elements. Among all the powerful titled Douluo in the entire spirit hall, there is no one who is suitable for the sea god. Therefore, Chu Ye thought of Xue Binja from Qian Renxue College. She seems to be the only one who is suitable and capable at the moment. Xue Binja, his best friend, has also received many favors from Chu Ye, such as fairy grass, and the various support that the Spirit Empire has given to Qian Renxue College in recent years. It can be said that Chu Ye and Qian Renxue have been very kind to Xue Binja. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 408. The Vacancy God Seed. Shuabinja's martial soul is the top beast martial soul of ice and water attributes, the Ice Phoenix. She also absorbed the immortal grass that Chu Ye gave her back then. She is very strong in talent, strength, and soul power level. She is a rare genius. Now 34-year-old Shuabinja is already a soul fighter of level 85. Therefore, Shuabinja's conditions in all aspects are extremely suitable for the position of Poseidon, and she also has the qualification to become the future Poseidon. As the most important things to carry the position of the god, the artifact, the Poseidon Trident, and the heart of the ocean all in Chu Ye's hands. As long as Shuabinja controls the heart of the ocean and the Poseidon Trident, and raises her soul power to level 99. Then, Chu Ye has a lot of ways to let Shuabinja finally carry this position and become the new Poseidon. The Poseidon Trident, 180,000 pounds, right? Chu Ye slowly walked to the artifact, held it directly on the spot, and then exerted force to lift it up in one fell swoop. Then, he mobilized his own dragon god power to cover the body of the Poseidon. Let's go back to the Pope's palace first. Yes. Chu Ye returned to the Pope's palace with the Seer God Trident and the Seer God's body. The Seer God's body still hides a huge amount of Seer God's divine power and the power of the Seer God's light. Even if his body is dead, it is still a treasure. Let Shuabinja absorb the remaining power in the Seer God's body, which will be of great help to her future as the Seer God. Soon, everyone returned to the Pope's palace. Qian Renxue, the elders of the worship, and the elders of the major titles of Douluo were collectively helping Chu Ye, Qian Renxue, Qian, and Pact to heal their wounds. The four of them were also recovering and adjusting themselves. After about half a day, Chu Ye, Qian Renxue, Qian, and Pact had all recovered a lot, so they stopped. As the treatment stopped temporarily, all the high-level people in the palace began to ask about the battle just now and the problems that occurred with the God Realm. Your Majesty, what should Lord Chu Ye do now? This made everyone very anxious and a little panicked. After all, Chu Ye, Qian Renxue and Wuhan City were now considered to have provoked the God Realm. Will they be punished or even destroyed by the God Realm? The Spirit Hall is indeed invincible in the mortal world of Douluo Continent, but in front of the God Realm, it may be easily destroyed, right? Don't worry, everyone. The dispute between me and the God Realm will not affect the Spirit Hall and the Spirit Empire. Chu Ye comforted. But for everyone, it is only a problem of the Spirit Hall. They also care about Chu Ye's personal life safety and comfort. But the God Realm will never let Lord Chu Ye go easily, right? Today you killed the Sea God. Will the God Realm send more powerful gods? Then, alas. Speaking of this, the titled Douluo at the Spirit Hall were very helpless, and only hated that they did not have powerful divine power to help Chu Ye and the others. Hilly. Chu Ye shook his head and smiled, waving his hand. Don't worry, everyone. I have my own way to deal with the next thing. Don't worry, you just need to take care of the affairs of the mortal world. Chu Ye, Qian, teacher, come with me. Yes. Then, Chu Ye called the three of them to talk alone. Next, the God Realm will definitely send more powerful and more gods to the lower world to capture me. I must go to the Dragon Tomb again as soon as possible to complete my Dragon God 7th test and let my strength catch up. Qian, wait for to bring Shuabinja here. After I arrange the matters, you and will go to the Dragon Tomb with me again. Teacher, Chu Ye, you stay in the Pope's palace and wait for the gods to come. Don't resist. When the God Realm sends the gods to the lower world again, it will no longer be something we can resist. There is no need to fight them. I can't avoid the day of confrontation with the gods. You just need to do your best for me and buy more time. Chu Ye said. He knew that he couldn't avoid it next. He had to go to the God Realm, meet the 5 great God Kings, and all the first-level gods, and confront the gods in the Law Enforcement Hall. If they still resisted, they would be confronting the entire God Realm. But before going, it would be best to complete the 7th test of the Dragon God. Okay, we know what to do. Everyone nodded. After a while, and finally came with Shuabinja. Chu Ye, I heard from her on the way that you killed the Sea God. Shuabinja looked serious and shocked. Yes. Chu Ye nodded lightly. Shuabinja also took a breath of cold air, confirmed that it was true, and was shocked. Shuabinja, come with me. Chu Ye took Shuabinja directly and walked towards the hall where the body of the Sea God was stored. On the way, Chu Ye couldn't help but ask a question in advance. Chu Ye, can you tell me first? Why did you ask to bring me here so hurriedly? Chu Ye, do you want to become a god? Chu Ye asked. What? Chu Ye's face changed drastically. Become the sea god. Chu Ye was thoughtful and smart, and she quickly thought of it. She took a deep breath and said, Chu Ye, do you want me to become the sea god? Yes. But, am I qualified? Chu Ye doubted herself a little, whether she had the qualifications. You're actually very suitable for the sea god, and your talent is enough. I will take you to a place. As long as you can master their power and as long as you can eventually cultivate to level 99, you can become the sea god. Chu Ye said with great certainty. I want to become a god. Chu Ye's eyes instantly ignited with an immense desire for God. How could a soul master not want to become a god? Chu Ye naturally yearned and longed for it, but the realm of God was too far away, and she was not even a titled Douluo now. If she could become a titled Douluo at level 96 inches the future, it would be very high in Chu Ye's eyes, and she dared not dream of becoming a god. But now, Chu Ye put the opportunity to become a god in front of her, and she must seize the opportunity. Okay, then you can follow me. Thank you, Chu Ye. Chu Ye said gratefully. After a while, the two arrived at the hall where the body of Poseidon was kept. This is. Chu Ye saw the body of Poseidon, which was cut into pieces and sealed by a strange force, and the golden trident of Poseidon next to it. And on the table, there was a crystal-clear object in a triangular shape, the heart of Poseidon, which was also that vast sea universe cover. Chu Ye had already disassembled the heart of the ocean from the trident of Poseidon intactly. Chapter 409 Controlling the Throne of Poseidon, Poseidon, Chu Ye. Chu Ye is in front of you now. There are 3 steps to do. First, absorb the remaining power of Poseidon in the body of Poseidon, and his power. I will help you complete this step. Second, control the heart of the ocean and make it yours. Third, control the trident of Poseidon. This step requires you to control the heart of the ocean in advance. Use your power to merge the power of the heart of the ocean with the trident of Poseidon, which will help you to control this artifact to a great extent. As long as you can complete these 3 steps, you're becoming the god of the sea as a foregone conclusion. Do you understand? Chu Ye's word fell. Chu Ye nodded seriously. I understand. Then let's start now. Chu Ye untied the power sealed on the body of Poseidon, and mobilized the remaining energy in the body of Poseidon to assist Chu Ye in absorbing this power of Poseidon. Chu Ye immediately sat down to absorb the energy of Poseidon mobilized by Chu Ye. The terrifying power of Poseidon quickly poured into Chu Ye's body. With Chu Ye's help, Chu Ye can perfectly absorb the remaining power in the sea god's body and turn it into energy to enhance her soul power. Bang! Boom! The terrifying energy fluctuations exploded, and Chu Ye's soul power directly broke through from level 85 to level 86. It hasn't stopped yet. Chu Ye's soul power is still rapidly increasing while absorbing the remaining energy of the sea god. Level 88. Level 89. Level 90. Bang! Boom! Boom! My soul power is increasing at a very fast speed. Chu Ye's soul power actually broke through from level 85 to level 90 inches this process, and stepped into the realm of titled Douluo, rising 5 levels in a row. And directly reached the peak at the level 90 stage, which means that when Chu Ye absorbs the 9th soul ring, it is very likely that she will break through to level 92 inches one fell swoop. At this time, it finally stopped. Titled Douluo, Chu Ye also slowly opened her eyes, feeling the surge of her soul power and the increase of her strength. She was very surprised. I actually broke through to the titled Douluo realm in one fell swoop. Am I now a titled Douluo? She was very excited in her heart. Titled Douluo. It was a realm that countless people wanted to reach. Chu Ye had never thought that she could enter this realm at the age of more than 30. It's just a titled Douluo. For you, it's just the beginning. Chu Ye, start the 2nd step immediately. Chu Ye said calmly. Okay. Chu Ye sorted out her mood. Indeed, her vision should no longer be focused on the stage of titled Douluo. She slowly walked to the heart of the ocean and asked, what should I do? Take a drop of your blood and drop it on this heart of the ocean to try. Chu Ye said. Okay. Chu Ye did it immediately. Now that Poseidon is dead, the heart of the ocean and the trident of the sea god are both ownerless. Chu Ye just needs to be able to withstand the vast sea power of the heart of the ocean. Then, she can drip blood to recognize the master and control the heart of the ocean. As a drop of Shuabinja's blood dripped onto the heart of the ocean, Shuabinja's spirit seemed to enter it. Chu Ye was recuperating and recovering on the side while waiting silently. After absorbing the remaining energy in the body of Poseidon, the god of the sea, Chu Ye could feel that Shuabinja actually carried part of the god of the sea's power. It was no problem for her to control the heart of the ocean and the trident of the sea god. It was just a matter of time. After waiting for several hours, sure enough, Shuabinja successfully mastered the dripping of blood to recognize the master and controlled the ocean. She was very surprised and said, "I succeeded, Chu Ye." "Very good, then start the last step. Once you control this trident of the sea god, you will be the one holding the artifact of the sea god. With this artifact in hand, when you absorb the 9th soul ring, you can be regarded as stepping into the combat power of the high-level titled Douluo. Now, Shuabinja, mobilize the power of the heart of the ocean and pull out the trident of the sea god in one fell swoop." Chu Ye said with a serious face. "I understand." Shuabinja took a deep breath, pulled up her sleeves, and her snow-white arms emerged. She clenched her fists and quickly grasped the trident. HMMMMR. Shuabinja screamed, and at this moment, the heart of the ocean between her eyebrows flew out and merged with the sea god trident. With Shuabinja's full effort, she finally lifted up the sea god trident. The original 180,000 Jin sea god trident now seemed to become very light in Shuabinja's hands. She successfully controlled this artifact. Shuabinja was very surprised. She could clearly feel the terrifying power contained in the sea god trident. "Shuabinja, from now on, this artifact is your exclusive thing," Chu Ye said lightly. "Thank you, Chu Ye, for such a great favor. I really don't know how to repay you, but I, Shuabinja, swear here that if I really become the sea god in the future, I will definitely do my best to help you," Shuabinja said very seriously. "Your words are enough." Chu Ye nodded, and then arranged. "Shuabinja, if you want to become the god of the sea and control these artifacts, you also need to increase your soul power to level 99, and you also need to obtain a lot of power of faith." "Power of faith?" "Yes, obtain the sea soul beasts of the sea, and the faith of sea soul masters." Chu Ye nodded, and then said very seriously, "Shuabinja, from now on, I will temporarily appoint you as the master of the sea god island and the spirit hall, and the platinum bishop of the spirit hall. You will be in charge of the entire Sea God Island. Are you willing to accept it?" "Master of the Spirit Hall of Sea God Island, Platinum Bishop Shuabinja, accept the order." Shuabinja did not hesitate at all. After hearing this, she knelt down on one knee very decisively, and was extremely solemn and serious. "Okay, get ready and go to Poseidon Island." In addition, in the southwest of Poseidon Island, about 100 kilometers away, there is a sea soul beast that has just broken through 100,000 years of cultivation. Go and kill it. After absorbing this 100,000-year soul ring, your soul power can directly reach level 92. Chu Ye said. "Thank you." Shuabinja was very grateful. From now on, Shuabinja finally officially joined the forces of the Spirit Hall. When Shuabinja absorbed the 9th soul ring and truly became a 9-ring titled Douluo, her status will be improved again and she will be promoted to the Elder of the Spirit Hall. And when Shuabinja appeared on Poseidon Island with the Poseidon Trident, she would instantly become the Poseidon in the eyes of countless islanders. As long as Shuabinja manages Poseidon Island and makes some achievements on Poseidon Island, she will inevitably quickly gain a large amount of faith power, and becoming a god is just around the corner. Chapter 410a. Mere mortal killed a god. Shuabinja left immediately, planning to go back to Tianxue City first, explain to Tianxue College, and then go to Sea God Island to take up her post. Chu Ye has also gathered Yu and the treasure-hunting beast, ready to enter the Dragon Tomb of the God Realm again to complete the next Dragon God 7th test. Yu, treasure-hunting beast, let's go out. Yes. The three of them looked at each other, and took their pet treasure-hunting beasts and entered the Dragon God space together. Chu Ye, now that your affairs have been known to the God Realm, the area around the Dragon Tomb may be more heavily guarded. I'm afraid it will be difficult for us to enter the Dragon Tomb. Yu reminded. No matter how difficult it is, we must enter. Now that I have mastered the spatial attribute power of the Dragon God, I can achieve the effect of spatial transfer through spatial power. It should not be a problem to sneak into the Dragon Tomb. We'll act according to the situation at the time. If there is really a way, we can only force our way in first. Chu Ye nodded, not too panicked. His current mental power has already reached the realm of God King. As long as there is no God King around the Dragon Tomb, his mental power can detect the opponent first, but the opponent cannot detect him. With the advantage of mental power, plus the spatial power he obtained in the 6th test, he can avoid all gods to a large extent and enter the Dragon Tomb. As long as it is not too unlucky to encounter a god wherever he appears, there will be no big problem. Let's go. The three of them quickly passed through the space portal in the Dragon God space and entered the vicinity of the Dragon Tomb in that god realm. Chu Ye, Qian, and Mu arrived at the god realm again. Chu Ye released his mental power at the first time and did not find any gods around. Chu Ye breathed a sigh of relief and called everyone. Let's go. The three began to run quickly towards the Dragon Tomb. On the way, Chu Ye's mental power was open all the time. Until they came to the vicinity of the Dragon Tomb mountains and rivers, they did not find many gods. However, there are indeed more gods than before. At least 3 times more than before. Among them, there are several second-level gods, and even a first-level god, that is the god of emotions. The security was indeed much stricter, but in fact it was less than Chu Ye had imagined. He thought that there were at least several first-level gods guarding here. It seems that they have missed the point. Chu Ye's mouth curled up slightly. The God Realm would never know that Chu Ye had a channel and way to the Dragon Tomb, so the focus of the God Realm's guards was not around the Dragon Tomb, but farther away, so there were not as many gods here as Chu Ye had imagined. And there was only one first-level god, the god of emotions, who could not prevent Chu Ye and the other two from sneaking in. Qian, follow me. Chu Ye's mental power enveloped the entire venue. The extent of his mental power was like a huge map, clearly and accurately knowing where there were people and where there were no people, which angle was a blind spot, and where to went to without being discovered. All of this was within the scope of Chu Ye's mental power. In just less than an hour, Chu Ye successfully infiltrated the Dragon Tomb with Qian, as well as the treasure hunting beast, and ran directly to the deepest and most core area of the Dragon Tomb. According to what the treasure hunting beast said, and Chu Ye's personal guess, the dragon-raising pillar and the dragon-slaying sword needed to complete the 7th test of the Dragon God are likely to be in the deepest part of the Dragon Tomb. It is impossible to have them in the outer area of the Dragon Tomb, because they basically walked through the outer area when they buried the dragon last time, and there is still 1/3 of the inner area that they have not set foot on. But the probability of existence is also very low. Therefore, it is likely to be in the core of the Dragon Tomb. But the situation inside is very complicated and dangerous. It is probably not an easy task to find these 2 artifacts inside. It was also not long after Chu Ye entered the Dragon Tomb. The 2 third-level gods who returned from the defeat in the Douluo mortal realm finally returned to the God realm. The Sea God. The Sea God was killed by Chu Ye, the successor of the Dragon God. What did you say? How is this possible? The Sea God is a first-level god who controls the power of the sea in the world. Even among all the first-level gods, he is a powerful existence among the best. How could he die in the hands of a mortal? What is going on? Tell the truth. After the news of the death of Poseidon came from the 2 third-level gods. All the gods in the temple were shocked and stunned. The 5 great gods and the first-level gods sitting there couldn't believe that the sea god would be killed. At that moment, the Azure god frowned slightly, with a hint of murderous intent hidden in his eyes. Yes, it's the angel god, Renxue god, and the Silver Dragon King who escaped from the god realm that year. They assisted the Dragon God's successor Chu Ye. The 4 of them joined forces to fight the Poseidon and finally killed the Poseidon. How absurd. How audacious. A mere mortal dared to kill a god. He openly challenged the might of the god realm. This boy, he doesn't take our god realm seriously at all. 5 god kings, I suggest that you immediately send the gods to the lower realms to execute the man who committed the heinous crime of killing a god on the spot. And the angel god, Renxue god, and the Silver Dragon King, they joined forces with the Dragon God's successor Chu Ye to kill the Poseidon who was enforcing the law in our god realm. They should also be brought back to the god realm immediately, and severely punished. The Silver Dragon King should also be imprisoned and suppressed in the forbidden area of the god realm like the Golden Dragon King. That's right. That's right. The first-level gods present were furious when they heard this. Among them, the 7 gods of original Sing shouted the most fiercely and threatened to execute Chu Ye directly. The god of destruction sneered. If the sea god had gone down to the mortal world privately, it would be fine if they killed him, but the sea god came down to the mortal world with the identity of our god realm law enforcement to capture the Dragon God's successor. They not only resisted, but also killed the sea god. This crime should be sentenced to death. The god of Sure nodded. Well, this person's crime is a capital crime in the laws of the god realm. Then let's do it according to the law and send the gods down to the mortal world to kill Chu Ye directly. The god of Shura originally wanted to kill Chu Ye's god king. He even specially notified the sea god to kill Chu Ye. The god of Shura was very surprised that the sea god would die. But it didn't matter. Chu Ye resisted the law enforcement of the god realm and killed the sea god. This behavior was enough for Chu Ye to be sentenced to death. If Chu Ye is directly executed in the mortal realm, and Chu Ye is brought back to the god realm for confrontation and defense, something unexpected might happen. Wait, even if you want to kill him, you have to bring him back to the god realm to give him a chance to defend himself, right? Direct execution is not the usual style of our god realm. The god of kindness said. The goddess of life nodded. Yes. Chapter 411. The 7 elemental gods are dispatched. Chu Ye arrives at the core of the dragon tomb. There is a process for sentencing. First, the person must be arrested, tried in court, convicted, and then executed. Now the god of destruction and the god of Shura actually want to skip this step directly, without giving others any chance to refute. After all, none of them were at the scene. What if there was something else going on? King of kindness, what else can you say? Resisting the law enforcement of the god realm and killing the gods who were enforcing the law, isn't this a blatant provocation to our god realm? The god of wrath said angrily. King of wrath, I know you are very angry, but don't be angry yet. People must be punished, but let's bring them to the god realm first. The goddess of life said. Then bring the person to the god realm first. Anyway, the crime of killing gods is unavoidable. I want to see the kid with my own eyes. The god of evil was very interested. He actually didn't care. It was the same whether he was killed directly or brought to the god realm for trial. Since the king of kindness said so, he, the god of evil, would agree. After all, among the god kings, the relationship between the god of evil and the god of kindness is actually the best. The goddess of life naturally agrees with the god of kindness. Seeing this, the god of destruction and the god of Shura had no choice but to agree to capture Chu Ye and the others back to the god realm first. If they insisted on executing them immediately, it would be a bit obvious. Since they already have the power to kill the first level god sea god, they must not be careless this time when they go down to the world. They need to send a few more first level gods. Everyone, who is willing to go down to the world? 5 god kings, this time we 7 elemental gods will take action. The god of fire stood up. We are willing to lead more than 100 gods to suppress the Douluo mortal world within city and bring them all back to the god realm. We will definitely complete the task. The 7 elemental gods also stood up one after another. They were the 7 first-level gods, the god of fire, the god of water, the god of earth, the god of wind, the god of light, the god of darkness, and the god of space. Okay, then I'll trouble you 7. Everyone, let's go. The god of fire looked at the other 6 partners, leading the 7 elemental gods, as well as the 2nd-level gods, 3rd-level gods, and priests who set out in the same batch, a total of 100 gods. This time, the god realm is going to use an absolutely powerful momentum to make Chu Ye and the others unable to have the idea of resisting after seeing them, and then directly take them back to the god realm. When the 7 elemental gods led 100 gods to the lower world, Chu Ye, Qian, and the treasure-hunting beasts were already very close to the depths of the dragon tomb. But it was also at this time that Chu Ye and his party finally encountered a more troublesome obstacle. There was a huge dragon barrier in front of them, blocking their way. Master, there are many such dragon barriers in the dragon tomb that cannot be entered at all. I came to this place a long time ago, but because of the barrier, I couldn't enter. At the time, I was almost at the peak of my strength and tried to pass through the barrier, but no matter what I did, it didn't work. The treasure-hunting beast said. In those days, many dragons would automatically deploy protection mechanisms after their death. Coupled with the influence of the dragon tomb's energy, many strange and complex environments appeared in the dragon tomb. Chu Ye and his companions had encountered a lot of trouble along the way. The barrier in front of them was also the same. Everyone step back, I'll try. Chu Ye motioned for them to step back, then stepped forward alone and slowly placed his hands on the dragon barrier. Then he mobilized the dragon god's divine power in his body and injected it into the dragon barrier. The next second, the dragon barrier in front of him, which was reinforced by a large amount of dragon energy in the dragon tomb, actually disintegrated and shattered in an instant. The treasure-hunting beast was stunned when he saw this. This is so easy. Back then, when I came here at my peak, I had the power equivalent to that of a first-level god, but I couldn't open it no matter what I did. Master, you just press it lightly and it will be solved. Haha, maybe it's because you are not a dragon? Chu Ye smiled, without delay, and immediately called them to move on. About half a day later, after Chu Ye and his team had experienced many difficulties and obstacles on the road, he finally felt the breath of the artifact, the Rising Dragon Pillar. Rising Dragon Pillar. It's the breath of the Rising Dragon Pillar. Master, I feel it. It's in front. It must be not far in front. The treasure hunter said excitedly. Hurry, let's go. Okay. Everyone sped up again. After a few minutes, they stopped and finally saw the Rising Dragon Pillar, one of the top artifacts of the Dragon Clan. Is this the Rising Dragon Pillar? Chu Ye stood in place, silently looking at a huge golden pillar in front of him, his eyes flickering, and his heart couldn't help but be shocked. It was a huge golden pillar that was hundreds of meters high and hundreds of meters wide. The Rising Dragon Pillar was engraved with exquisite and charming dragon patterns, always emitting a faint golden light and energy full of Dragon Clan breath. Countless Dragon Ki and Dragon Clan energy formed an invisible airflow around the top of the Rising Dragon Pillar, which was the Rising Dragon platform. The giant pillar surged, emitting a breath and power that made it impossible for anyone other than Dragon Clan creatures to get close. At this moment, the Dragon Rising Pillar was being pressed into the mountains and rivers, and a large amount of dragon energy was sealing it, as if to prevent outsiders from taking it away, forming a protective mechanism. If Chu Ye wanted to get the Dragon Rising Pillar, he would probably have to drag the Dragon Rising Pillar out of the mountains and rivers first. The Dragon Rising Pillar is a super artifact among the dragon artifacts. It was refined from the horn of the Dragon God back then. It is the existence of the Dragon God to test the strength of his subordinate dragons. It can fix the dragon soul and keep it in mind. It has great benefits for stabilizing the mind of the dragons and breaking through the realm of gods. The treasure hunting beast explained. It can be said that the Dragon Rising Pillar in front of us can cultivate the power of the dragons to a great extent, strengthen the super artifacts of the dragons, and allow all dragons who were infinitely close to the gods to easily reach the god level. Or if they have already become gods, but want to go up a level from the third level gods to the second level gods, they can also easily complete it through the Dragon Rising Pillar. This super artifact has a great significance for the dragons. Chu Ye listened to the introduction of the treasure hunting beast, walked slowly towards the Rising Dragon Pillar stuck between the mountains and rivers, and placed his palm on the Rising Dragon Pillar with awe. He seemed to have some kind of wonderful induction between him and the Rising Dragon Pillar, and he could also feel that if Chu Ye wanted to get it and get the approval of the Divine Dragon Pillar, he had to pull it out of the mountains and rivers. Rising Dragon Pillar, if I can get you, no matter what kind of artifact you are melted into, I will keep your original power, as well as the meaning and mission of your existence. Chu Ye left a sentence, and finally stroked the giant pillar. His eyes gradually became serious. The next second, a terrifying force suddenly rose from his body, and he planned to pull it out with his bare hands. Chapter 412. Hundreds of gods suppress Wuhan City. It was also at this time. The team of 100 gods, led by the 7 elemental gods, finally arrived at the blue immortal realm. Chu Ye had spent half a day in the god realm, but for the mortal realm, half a year had passed. Now little Shu Han and little Shu Zi were already 1.5 years old. As the children of Chu Ye and Qian Renxue, the children of God, they would be much smarter and more intelligent than ordinary children, whether it was the brain, nerves, muscles, or limb coordination, they would be better. They had completely mastered walking, running, and even jumping, and had learned and called simple names like Dad, Mom, Grandpa, and Grandma. Although it was still a little unclear, it wouldn't be long. At this moment, Qian Renxue was taking the 2 children for a walk in the Pope's palace, with little Shu Han and little Shu Zi holding Qian Renxue's left and right hands respectively. Mom. Where's Dad? Little Shu Han still couldn't learn where his dad was, and these languages could only be called in such simple ways, but he could also make Qian Renxue clearly understand what he meant. The younger sister next to her, Xiao Chuxu, also imitated her brother and shouted like this. Qian Renxue said with a gentle face, Dad is far away now. He can't come back for the time being. However, I believe that Dad will be back soon, dear. Qian Renxue reached out and touched the heads of the 2 children. There was a faint smile on her face, but her mood could not calm down. Although the past 6 months were calm, she knew that the gods should be coming soon. Qian Renxue's premonition was right. It didn't take long. The sky, which was originally calm, had a strange phenomenon again. The sky seemed to have suddenly turned into a sea of fire. The gods have descended. This strange phenomenon in the sky once again alarmed the entire Wuhan city. But everyone understood that the gods from the god realm had come again. Alas, what is coming has finally come. Qian Renxue slowly raised her head and looked at the sky with a serious face. Xiao Qian and Xiao Chuxiu also raised their heads subconsciously. The family of three looked at the sky at the same time. Last time, Xiao Qian and Xiao Chuxiu didn't realize what was happening. This time, they may not understand it either, but they had a warning of danger in their hearts. Mom Xiao Qian and Xiao Chuxiu subconsciously held Qian Renxue's hands tightly, and a bit of fear appeared on their faces. Don't be afraid, Mom is here. Qian Renxue held the children's hands tightly, and then a gentle smile appeared on her face again. Children, we may see Daddy soon. Your Majesty. Xiaoxiu. At this moment, Qian Dalu, Bai Bai Dong, and many titled Luo have also rushed to Qian Renxue's side. In the sky, the clouds like a sea of fire slowly dispersed. A man in a fire dragon suit, with extreme flames burning all over his body, appeared in front of Qian Renxue and others first. He is the strongest of the 7 elemental gods, the god of fire. Following closely, the god of water, the god of earth, the god of wind, the god of light, the god of darkness, the god of space, the 7 elemental gods collectively appeared. Behind them, hundreds of 2nd level and 3rd level gods appeared one after another, floating behind the 7 elemental gods. Hundreds of gods, each emitting their own powerful divine aura, enveloped the entire sky above Wuhan City. The god realm really thinks highly of us, and actually sent so many gods to the lower world. Qian Renxue shook her head and smiled. More than 100 gods appeared in the mortal world. This scene is probably unprecedented. At this time, the voice of the god of fire echoed between heaven and earth. Angel god Qian Renxue, Rakshasa god Babidon, it's our first meeting. Let me introduce myself. I am the son of the 7 elemental gods, the god of fire. The other 1st level gods also roughly reported their god positions. Then he went straight to the point. Why we went to the lower world, you two naturally know. I hope you will be more conscious and follow us to the god realm. The water god nodded and said, yes. Angel god, Rakshasa god, our 7 elemental gods are all 1st level gods, and there are hundreds of 2nd level and 3rd level gods behind us. This time, the god realm has issued a death order and must bring you back to the god realm. In the face of our power, you can no longer resist it. Fighting is meaningless. We don't want to fight with you either. Let's be peaceful and follow us. The attitudes of the 7 elemental gods were quite polite, and there was no hostility. They just acted according to the law, but the gods following behind them might not have such a good attitude. Among them, the attitude of the god of killing was the most arrogant. Angel god, Rakshasa god. Where is Chu Ye, the successor of the dragon god? I advise you to hand him over to me. The face of the god of killing was surging, domineering and majestic. The god of killing, under the command of the god King Chu god, was a 2nd level god. The god of killing is a very ancient god, almost from the same period as the god of Shura. He holds the power of killing and is a very powerful existence among the 2nd level gods. Almost like the god of Phoenix, he is at the peak level of the 2nd level gods. Facing the call of the god of killing, Qian Renxue and Bai Bai Dong were too lazy to respond and simply chose to ignore it. The god of wind, one of the 7 elemental gods, also reminded, God of killing, can you keep peace? There is no need to make both sides unhappy and cause conflict. Humph. Seeing this, the god of killing snorted coldly and endured it a little. The god of fire said again, Angel god, Rakshasa god, Silver Dragon King, and Chu Ye, the successor of the dragon god, since you killed the sea god, the god realm must have an explanation for this matter. Not only Chu Ye, but also you and the Silver Dragon King need to go to the god realm with us. Please, Angel god and Rakshasa god, let Chu Ye, the successor of the dragon god, and you take the initiative to show up and go to the god realm with us. If you have anything, you can explain it in the law enforcement hall of the god realm. We agree to go to the god realm with you, but please give us some time. Qian Renxue said calmly. Time? How long? The god of space asked. I can't give the gods an answer to how long it will take, because we don't know where they went and how long it will take to come back. Qian Renxue said. Humph. Angel god, Rakshasa god, are you kidding us? Don't you know where they went? If you don't hand them over, then we have no choice but to take action by force. The god of killing shouted angrily, with a threatening look on his face. God of killing, please control your emotions. The god of fire reminded him again, with a hint of displeasure in his eyes. If it weren't for the fact that the god of killing was a god under the command of the god of Shura, the god of fire would have already blasted him with a fireball. Sensing the displeasure of the god of fire, the god of killing finally restrained himself and stopped interrupting. Chapter 413 Dragon Slashing Blade. Let me be your master. Although the god of killing has the support of the god of Shura, the god of fire is not easy to mess with. The god of fire is the top one among all the first level gods in terms of combat power, and the 7 elemental gods are particularly united. If you mess with one, it is equivalent to messing with 7 first level gods. God of angels, there is no point in delaying time, because the result will not change. The god of fire said, and then said, well, you said you don't know where Chu Ye, the successor of the dragon god, and the silver dragon king are, then we will find them. Although this Douluo star is not small, we, the hundreds of gods, will search together. No matter where they hide in the mortal world, they will be found sooner or later in just 1 month. What's the meaning of such a short time for you? The god of fire was puzzled. It was inevitable. Why delay such a small matter? Can you become stronger in a short time? In fact, it is very simple to force Chu Ye and the Silver Dragon King out. The gods only need to suppress them by force, or perhaps use the people at the Spirit Hall, or even the children of Chu Ye and Qian Renxue, as a threat. They don't believe that Chu Ye and the Silver Dragon King will not come out. It's just that the 7 elemental gods don't want to fight, nor do they want to use such despicable and disdainful means. As for them, time is plenty. A month is just 2 hours in the god realm. Qian Renxue and Bite Dom smiled and said, ha, since the gods want to find them, then go ahead. If you can find Chu Ye and Qian, the 4 of us will no longer resist and will definitely go to the god realm with you. Ha, okay, angel god, remember what you said. The god of fire smiled faintly. At this time, the god of water came close to the ear of the god of fire and whispered, hey, hundreds of us are going out at the same time to look for people on this Douluo star. Even if Chu Ye and the Silver Dragon King have hidden in the Sunday and Moon continent, it will take less than a month to find them, right? You guy, are you deliberately using the excuse of looking for someone to have some fun in the mortal world? The god of fire's thoughts were seen through by his wife, and he smiled awkwardly. Wife, I still can't hide it from you. That's for sure. The day-to-day life in the god realm is really too boring. We have finally come to the mortal world for a trip, and we will go back without feeling the fireworks of the world. Isn't it a pity? The god of water covered his mouth and smiled. You really know how to find opportunities. The god of fire and the god of water among the 7 elemental gods are a couple, and life in the god realm is indeed very boring compared to the mortal world. This is why many gods want to find heirs as soon as possible to pass on the gods. Without the constraints of the gods, they can go to more distant worlds to adventure, to wander, to do whatever they want. And as the water god said, it would not take that long for hundreds of gods to find someone in a mortal plane. Gods, listen to my order, follow me, and find Chu Ye, the successor of the dragon god, and the silver dragon king. Yes. Although some gods felt that the fire god's move was unnecessary, there was nothing they could do about it because the fire god was the leader of this operation. The unhappy god of killing had no choice but to obey. It's really unnecessary. The gods began to disperse and began to conduct a comprehensive search of the entire Douluo star. Looking at the figures of the gods leaving, Qian Renxue immediately contacted Chu Ye through telepathy. Chu Ye, the gods have already descended to the lower world. I'm afraid we can only hold them here for a month at most. At this moment, Chu Ye, who was about to pull out the ascending dragon pillar in the dragon tomb of the god realm, heard Qian Renxue's voice and immediately responded, I understand. He retracted his thoughts, looked at the huge ascending dragon pillar in front of him, and began to exert his strength. But at this time, Chu Ye suddenly felt a cold light coming from the distant sky. At that moment, Chu Ye felt the crisis and immediately broke away from the rising dragon pillar and jumped back. Danger! As if passing by, the cold light hit the place where Chu Ye just stood. Bang! Boom boom boom! The huge force hit the ground, and a pit was blasted out of the hard yellow earth below. Grey smoke and yellow earth rose. What is that? Have we been discovered by the god realm? Probably not. Chu Ye, Qian, and the treasure-hunting beast all looked forward with a serious face. When the grey smoke and yellow earth slowly dissipated, everyone finally saw the scene in front of them. There was no one, no creature, but a weapon. A golden knife. This is the second god of the dragon clan that Chu Ye is looking for in the 7th test of the dragon god, the dragon-slaying knife. Master, it's the dragon-slashing sword. The dragon-slashing sword appeared by itself. Master, that's great, now both artifacts are here. The treasure-hunting beast said excitedly. It's not that simple, all of you step back. Chu Ye had a serious face. He could feel that at this moment, the dragon-slashing sword exuded a strong desire to fight. Ding ding ding. As expected, the dragon-slashing sword began to float slowly, shaking violently, trembling, making the sound of a weapon, and then the blade pointed at Chu Ye. Do you want me to defeat you? Chu Ye asked. The dragon-slashing sword shook twice, as if nodding. I understand, then come on. Chu Ye released the sword of gods and demons. His eyes were extremely serious and solemn. He knew that the dragon-slashing sword was intelligent, and it would even transform into a human in the future tens of thousands of years. That's right, it is very rare for a weapon, an artifact, and a knife to transform, but the dragon-slashing sword can indeed, but the conditions have not been met yet. The dragon-slashing sword immediately took up an attacking posture and aimed at Chu Ye. The next second, the sword began to dance, and a sword technique seemed to appear on the blade. It was like being held by someone and swung over. God and Demon Sword Technique. Chu Ye clenched the God and Demon Sword in his hand and stabbed it. He did not use any skills, but only used the sword techniques, sword moves, and sword styles he created to fight. Ding ding ding. The two weapons began to collide, fight, and duel crazily. Chu Ye controlled the God and Demon Sword to fight it fiercely, but there was no weakness for the sword. For a moment, he didn't understand how to defeat the dragon-slashing sword. Was it to destroy it? But soon, he understood the meaning of this battle. To defeat it, perhaps it was to dominate it and control it. Dragon-slashing sword. Let me be a master. At that moment, Chu Ye actually took back the God and Demon Sword and instantly grabbed the handle of the dragon-slashing sword with one hand. The dragon-slashing saber began to resist violently, jumping up and down, flying left and right, trying to shake Chu Ye off in various ways, but Chu Ye still held the hilt tightly, and he did not let go no matter how that dragon-slashing saber struggled. Dragon-slashing saber, since you took the initiative to appear in front of me, you should understand that with the dragon god power in my body, I will become the next generation of dragon god. Chapter 414. Subdue, slash the dragon sword, raise the dragon pillar. Refine the dragon god's artifact. I will also revive the dragon race. Become my artifact, dragon-slashing blade, come with me and lend me a helping hand. Dragon-slashing blade. Chu Ye instantly released the huge power of the dragon god in his body, and injected the power of the dragon god into the dragon-slashing blade. At this moment, Chu Ye's power seemed to be fused with the dragon-slashing blade and tightly connected. At this time, the dragon-slashing blade was still struggling. It was not until Chu Ye released his own sword intent that the dragon-slashing blade finally recognized Chu Ye. God and Demon Sword Intention. God and Demon Sword Technique, the first style, Sunday and Moon Demon God. Chu Ye directly controlled the dragon-slashing blade and played a sword technique. Dragon-slashing blade. I'm a sword. Bang. The Sunday and Moon Demon God was released from the dragon-slashing blade and bombarded the mountains and rivers in front of it. Feeling Chu Ye's dragon god power and the creation of the sword, integrated into the dragon-slashing blade, and then released, the dragon-slashing blade felt very wonderful, and it also gave it a feeling of being controlled by the dragon god again. It likes this feeling. After all, it is a knife. If no one uses it for too long, it will be lonely. Although it is not the dragon god it once was, it is not bad to be used by this human with the power of the dragon god. Chu Ye seemed to feel the emotions and mood of the dragon-slashing knife, so he took the initiative to let go of his hand and threw the dragon-slashing knife into the air. Chu Ye raised his head, looked at the dragon-slashing knife, and smiled. If I shout a word knife, you are willing to come to my hand, then from now on I will take you to the top of this world. Knife. Chu Ye slowly raised his hand and shouted loudly, and the sound echoed. Everyone's eyes collectively looked at the dragon-slashing knife in the air. The dragon-slashing knife paused in the air for 2 seconds, and the next second, it finally flew into Chu Ye's hand. Chu Ye also spread out his palm and instantly grasped the dragon-slashing knife. Ginyu and the treasure-hunting beast smiled at each other when they saw this. Chu Ye successfully let the dragon-slashing knife recognize its master. Chu Ye has now obtained the dragon-slashing blade, one of the 2 artifacts of the dragon clan. The last one left is the dragon rising pillar in front of him. The gods have descended to the mortal world. A month in the mortal world is only 2 hours in the divine world. Considering that they will notice that I am in that dragon tomb, the longest time they need to break into the dragon tomb should not exceed 1 day. I don't have much time left. I must refine my own artifact before the gods find me and complete the 7th test of the dragon god. Chu Ye no longer hesitated and walked to the dragon rising pillar again. Come on. Chu Ye took a deep breath. The next second, a terrifying aura rose instantly. He hugged the dragon rising pillar tightly and tried to pull it out with all his strength. Chu Ye went all out. The aura on his body became more and more terrifying. The energy around him began to stir crazily, following his roar, becoming more and more violent. Rumble. The mountains and rivers seemed to begin to shake violently, and scattered large and small pieces of gravel fell from above. The huge dragon rising pillar finally moved with Chu Ye's power. It's so heavy. Heavier than I thought. Ugh. Ah. Chu Ye started to go crazy, burning all his energy and strength, pouring everything into it. Veins popped out on his face, and his eyes were a little red because of the excessive effort. As he went all out, the dragon god blood in his body, as well as the hidden dragon god power that he couldn't mobilize yet, were all stimulated at this moment. With the release of a large amount of dragon god power, Chu Ye, who was originally in a very difficult situation, seemed to become much easier. Dragon god power. It's the dragon god that changed the pressure. Chu Ye understood something, reducing the delivery of his own soul power to enhance the release of dragon god power. This time, he directly pulled the rising dragon pillar and dragged the huge pillar out a few meters. Give me a hand. Okay. Gyu quickly stepped forward and exerted force with Chu Ye to move the rising dragon pillar out. Boom. 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 The rising dragon pillar started to move again and again. Come again. Chu Ye shouted. It's coming out soon. Go all out. Chu Ye, Gyu, and Mu all released all their strength. Finally, after half an hour. With a bang. The rising dragon pillar was completely pulled out of the mountains and rivers, and the power sealed on the rising dragon pillar was instantly released. It's finally out. The three of them were almost exhausted and collapsed on the ground to rest, panting. Too tired, can't do it anymore, is going to be paralyzed and lay on the ground, sweating all over. Gyu was also sweating all over, and his chest rose and fell slightly with his breathing. Chu Ye smiled helplessly, then rested for a few minutes. 3 minutes later. Gyu, get up, follow me to the rising dragon platform. Okay. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Chu Ye, Gyu, and soared into the sky and flew to the rising dragon platform in one fell swoop. At this moment, Chu Ye clearly felt the power of the rising dragon pillar. His heart and mind were extremely calm and stable. This was the dragon pillar that could stabilize the dragon pillar's mind. He slowly squatted down and pressed his palm on the center of the rising dragon platform. The power of the dragon god in his body began to flow into the rising dragon pillar instantly, and it seemed to be bound to the power of the rising dragon pillar. Chu Ye felt that he could now mobilize the power of the rising dragon pillar. He could drive the artifact through the bond between himself and the dragon pillar to make the rising dragon pillar smaller. He could change and control the size and shape of the rising dragon pillar with his thoughts. The treasure hunting beast said happily, "Congratulations, Master, the two great artifacts of the dragon clan, the dragon pillar and the dragon slashing sword, are already in hand. Chu Ye, there is no time to lose. You should quickly fuse the rising dragon pillar with the dragon slashing sword and refine a dragon god artifact that belongs to you." Gyu said. "Well, I understand." Chu Ye nodded, looking at the rising dragon pillar and the dragon slashing sword in his hand. "No matter what kind of artifact I refine you into, I will retain your original function and power. The seventh test of the dragon god requires finding these two artifacts, fusing them, and refining a brand new dragon god artifact to complete the test." It was also after Chu Ye completely controlled the rising dragon pillar and the dragon slashing sword that a huge dragon god pillar suddenly appeared in front of him. This dragon god pillar should have been in the dragon god space, the place where Chu Ye inherited the dragon god, but at this moment, it actually appeared on the dragon tomb. And this dragon god pillar is the key to refining artifacts. Is it here? Never mind, let's get started. Okay. Chu Ye, Gyu, and the treasure hunting beast looked at each other, and then walked to the dragon god pillar alone. What kind of weapon will be my dragon god artifact? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 415. The exclusive super artifact of Dragon God Chu Ye, the Dragon God Sword. Chu Ye was full of expectations, and took a last look at the two dragon artifacts he had just obtained, and finally slowly injected them one by one into the Dragon God pillar in front of him. Finally, he injected his own dragon god power into them. The two artifacts, with the injection and manipulation of Chu Ye's power, began to merge. His mental power seemed to have entered the dragon god pillar, witnessing and watching the changes and fusion of the two artifacts with his own eyes. They seemed to be disassembled, and their abilities, effects, and all aspects were clearly presented in front of Chu Ye's eyes, and it seemed that they could be combined and fused through Chu Ye's thoughts. He can retain the effects, abilities, and characteristics of each artifact, and let the power of the two artifacts completely merge together. Even if there are more artifacts that merge with them, the final Dragon God artifact will be stronger. Infinity Blade. Po Jun. You guys go too. Chu Ye hesitated for a moment and decided to inject the two artifacts, Infinity Blade and Po Jun, which were obtained from the 6 artifacts in the 9th mission, into the Dragon God Pillar, and fuse them with the Dragon Rising Pillar and the Dragon Slashing Saber. Chu Ye was able to fuse a single artifact with all the energy, attributes, and effects while retaining the power, ability, and characteristics of each artifact. Chu Ye thought about it and did not hesitate to let Infinity Blade and Po Jun also merge into it. Because there are too many artifacts, it is actually quite troublesome to fight, and you have to switch back and forth. Since they are all weapon-type attack artifacts, it is better to fuse them into one and create a more powerful artifact. With the entry of Infinity Blade and Po Jun at this moment, the Dragon Rising Pillar, Dragon Slashing Saber, Infinity Blade, Po Jun, the 4 artifacts, began to fuse. Chu Ye also needs to continuously inject his own Dragon God power to fill the final artifact with his own Dragon God power, and this process will not end so quickly. Time passed by minute. Unknowingly, an hour and a half later. At this moment, the time in the mortal world has passed, nearly a month. Hundreds of gods really searched for a whole month, and in this month, he did not find any trace of Chu Ye and the Silver Dragon King. This made the gods finally realize something, and they also felt very wrong. We have searched the entire Douluo star. If they are in the Douluo mortal world, we can't fail to find them. Is it possible that they have left the scope of Douluo star? Not good. Chu Ye, the successor of the Dragon God, and the Silver Dragon King are likely to have entered the Dragon Tomb now. The God of Fire suddenly thought of this and his face changed drastically. But the God realm has already been guarded by a large number of gods. Even the Dragon Tomb has the God of Emotions. How can they avoid the heavy guards of the God realm and enter the Dragon Tomb? And once the God realm finds out, they will notify us immediately, right? Don't forget that they also entered the Dragon Tomb before without the God of Phoenix noticing this. The god's bad premonition became stronger and stronger, and the premonition that Chu Ye was in the Dragon Tomb became stronger and stronger. No. I must go to the God realm immediately. You go to the Wihun Hall immediately and bring the Angel God, the Rakshasa God and others to the God realm. If they dare to resist, just do it. I will go back to the God realm to find their 5 great God Kings first. The God of Fire arranged, soaring into the sky first and returning to the God realm. The other 6 elemental gods took the gods back to Wihun City and asked Qian Renxue and Bai Dong to go to the God realm immediately and inform them to interrogate Chu Ye and the Silver Dragon King. Angel God, Rakshasa God, please answer us truthfully, did Chu Ye, the inheritor of the Dragon God, and the Silver Dragon King go to the Dragon Tomb? At this point, Qian Renxue had nothing to hide anymore, and said bluntly, you guessed it right. Damn it. He actually went to the Dragon Tomb. Angel God, Rakshasa God, follow us to the God realm immediately, otherwise we will have to take action. Return the 2 children by your side and bring them to the God realm together. Qian Renxue frowned immediately. I hope you can understand that we are not negotiating with you. The God of Wind looked fierce. Qian Renxue clenched her fists silently, but finally compromised, carrying Little Shu Han, Little Shu Zhu, and Bai Dong, and followed the gods to the God realm. An hour later, the God of Fire arrived at the God realm temple first and found the 5 great God Kings. The God of Fire told them that Chu Ye was very likely to be in the Dragon Tomb. When the 5 great gods heard that the Sure God and the God of Destruction, who wanted to kill Chu Ye the most, had their faces changed immediately. Go to the Dragon Tomb. Let's go. Without hesitation, the Sure God and the God of Destruction rushed to the Dragon Tomb. Seeing this, the God of Evil, the God of Kindness, and the Goddess of Life followed them. The 5 great gods collectively headed towards the Dragon Tomb. When the 5 great gods arrived at the inner area of the Dragon Tomb, Qian Renxue, Bai Dong, and the 2 children had already been brought into the law enforcement hall. The heir of the Dragon God must die. The God realm does not need any more dragon gods or beast gods. From an angle that the other four gods could not see, the god of destruction had already shown a strong killing intent in his eyes. The Sure god had a blank expression on his face. At least on the surface, he did not seem to have the slightest thought or idea. In this way, the five great gods easily broke into the inner area and went straight to the depths of the dragon tomb. But at this time, the artifact of Chu Ye, the exclusive dragon god, which was refined by the fusion of the four gods, the dragon pillar, the dragon slashing blade, the infinite blade, and the broken army, was about to be completed. At this moment, the four artifacts have been completely integrated together to become a brand new artifact. Finally it's done. Chu Ye was a little excited. As the nine-color light of the dragon god slowly dissipated, the appearance of the artifact finally appeared in front of Chu Ye. Is this my exclusive artifact? Chu Ye looked at it with a flickering look. It was a sword with 9 colors, the dominant color was gold, occupying half of the range of the artifact. The hilt was engraved with a look similar to that of the dragon god, and the entire sword body was also engraved with exquisite, fine, and gorgeous dragon patterns. It exudes an extremely huge, terrifying, and powerful power as a whole. It has far reached the level of a super artifact. It is the same as the 5 super artifacts of the God Realm, the Azure God Azure Sword, the Destruction God Destruction Scepter, the Evil God Judgment Scale, the Good God Kind Heart, and the Life Goddess Life Ancient Tree. This time, this world will have another super artifact, which will be on par with the 5 great artifacts in the God Realm, the top of the super artifacts. At this time, the Dragon God Pillar that refined the artifacts had disappeared, and the super artifact that belonged to Chu Ye also floated straight in front of him. Chu Ye said slowly, "From now on, you will be called Dragon God Sword." Chapter 416. Face the 5 Divine Kings. Chu Ye gave this super artifact a name, then slowly raised his hand and grasped the hilt of the Dragon God Sword. At this moment, the terrifying power on the Dragon God Sword was instantly injected into Chu Ye's body. His power merged with the power of the Dragon God Sword. The terrifying, overbearing, and powerful power of the Dragon God Sword poured in, causing Chu Ye's breath to rise instantly, reaching a very terrifying level, and his power had far surpassed his previous strength. The power of the Dragon God in Chu Ye's body seemed to have become even stronger because of the Dragon God Sword in his hand. Not bad, really good. Dragon God Sword is my exclusive artifact. At this moment, Chu Ye was surrounded by an extremely violent Dragon God power, which made Qian and the treasure hunting beasts terrified, fearful, and even retreated, not daring to approach. Chu Ye closed his eyes silently, feeling the power in his body at this moment, which was already several times stronger. If all the amplification states were fully turned on, he could feel his current strength, and he was afraid that he had completely stepped into the ranks of the first-level gods. With the Dragon God Sword in hand, all the power of the Dragon God seems to be connected. The skills and power of the Dragon God can be used at all with the attached Soulbone Dragon God wins, and there will be no side effects. The Dragon God Sword retains the skills and effects of the 4 artifacts, the Ascending Dragon Pillar, the Dragon Slashing Sword, the Infinite Blade, and the Broken Army, and at the same time gives it a brand new artifact skill that is unique to the Dragon God Sword. The Ascending Dragon Pillar still helps the Dragon Clan stabilize their minds and break through their realms. It also has the effects and swordsmanship of the Dragon Slashing Sword, including swordsmanship skills, but after being fused into the Dragon God Sword, these abilities have been upgraded and strengthened. The Dragon Slashing Sword, originally a swordsmanship, the Dragon Slashing Sword skill, is now upgraded and strengthened into the Dragon God Sword skill. The Dragon Slashing Sword, originally with the artifact skill, Dragon Clan Magic Sword of Dragon Slashing, is now the Dragon God Sword of Dragon Slashing. The Dragon Slashing Sword is actually mainly aimed at the Dragon Clan and all the Beast Clan, and will increase the suppression power of the Dragon Clan by 100%. In other words, the ability of the Dragon Slashing Sword will be very terrifying when facing the Dragon Clan and the Beast Clan. When dealing with the human clan that has nothing to do with the power of the Dragon Clan, the power effect is not that strong, but it is at least a skill in the Dragon Sword God, and its power is almost stronger than any of Chu Ye's soul skills. The effects and skills of the Infinite Blade have also been upgraded and strengthened after becoming a part of the Dragon God Sword, turning into the Infinite Dragon God Slash, which is several times more powerful than the Infinite Blade's Infinite Slash, and also has a critical strike effect. The skills and effects of the Broken Army have evolved into the Broken Army Dragon God Slash, which is also several times more powerful. When the enemy's status is below 50%, the power of the Broken Army Dragon God Slash and the Dragon God Sword will be increased again. The Dragon God Sword comes with a super artifact skill, Dragon God 9 Days, a group attack skill. Dragon God Sword of Creation, the strongest self-healing skill, has many abilities and effects, and has many magical uses. Dragon God's Destruction Slash, the strongest single target attack skill. That's right, this super artifact Dragon God Sword already has the power of the original Dragon God's Destruction and Creation. Chu Ye added several more God-level skills at once. Feeling everything about the Dragon God Sword, Chu Ye's heart was incomparably surging, because he knew that his current strength was approaching the peak of God. Now, he would not be invincible if he met any first-level God alone. Even if he could not defeat him, he would be invincible. Of course, there would still be a big gap compared to the power of the God King. At this time, the voice in his mind sounded again. It was the voice of him completing the 7th test of the Dragon God and the reward given. I don't know if this time, it can help me break through the 100-level soul power in one fell swoop. Chu Ye took back the Dragon God Sword and planned to use the remaining time to quickly absorb the God-given soul ring that had just completed the 7th test. Let's see if he can break through the 100-level soul power in this absorption of the God-given soul ring. But at this time, Chu Ye's spiritual power detected 5 extremely powerful auras, which were rapidly coming towards him. The aura of the lawless was far above Chu Ye's power, so it could only be those 5. The 5 great God Kings of the God Realm. They are finally here. Chu Ye sighed in his heart and could only temporarily give up absorbing this God-given soul ring. He slowly stood up and looked into the distance. There was no trace of fear on his face, but an extremely calm expression. "You, treasure-hunting beast, come behind me," Chu Ye said lightly. The 3 looked at each other and immediately stood behind Chu Ye. Chu Ye just stood there, waiting for the arrival of the 5 great God Kings. Soon, the figures of the 5 great God Kings appeared one after another. Hush! Bang 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 bang! The 5 great God Kings instantly fell from the sky and stood in front of Chu Ye. Each of them exuded a powerful aura. They finally met Chu Ye, the successor of the Dragon God. Chu Ye also finally met the 5 God King level strongmen who stood at the peak of power in this world, this God realm. But even when facing the God King, Chu Ye's face remained calm at this moment, and his aura was not weak at all when facing them. And through the detailed expressions and emotions on the faces of the 5 God Kings, Chu Ye seemed to understand who of the 5 God Kings in front of him might become an enemy and who might be a friend in the future. The 5 God Kings were also looking at Chu Ye carefully, and even felt the power in Chu Ye's body. The God Kings could feel that Chu Ye already had a huge Dragon God power in his body, but it was not complete. But it can be seen that Chu Ye should not be far from becoming a Dragon God. Interesting. No matter how a newcomer, or a level 99 human, faced the oppression of the 5 God Kings, but still remained calm, which surprised the 5 God Kings. Because in fact, they don't need to exert pressure. The aura they exude is enough to make ordinary priests or 3rd level gods feel fearful. It is obvious that their momentum has dropped a level, but Chu Ye doesn't. That attitude is like standing on an equal footing with them. But the more Chu Ye has this attitude, the more unhappy the God of Destruction will feel. In his opinion, Chu Ye should be afraid of them. He is very unhappy. Boy, you are so brave. You actually killed the God of the Sea. The God of Destruction instantly released his aura and pressure, using his power to suppress others, trying to make Chu Ye lower his posture and bow to him. The pressure of the King of Gods is like a huge wave that can submerge the entire city, suppressing it. In an instant, Chu Ye felt a huge pressure, the pressure from the King of Gods. Chu Ye still remained calm under the pressure of the God of Destruction, and the corners of his mouth slightly raised. King of Destruction, you really misunderstood me. I did kill the God of the Sea, but I was also self-defenser. Chapter 417. God Realm Law Enforcement Hall, the Gods Judge Chu Ye, self-defenser. Oh, you're right. The God of Destruction looked cold. The Sea God wanted to kill me directly. In order to avoid being killed by him, I had no choice but to kill him in return. Who asked me if I was wrong? Chu Ye said seriously. Humph. You were making up a story. The crime you committed, plus the crime of killing gods, is enough to make you lose your head. I can kill you directly now. The God of Destruction suddenly had a murderous intention. After saying this, he was about to take action, but was stopped by the Goddess of Life and the God of Kindness. Destruction. What are you going to do? How to deal with it, we will talk about it when we get to the Law Enforcement Hall. The Goddess of Life said. Chu Ye, the successor of the Dragon God, your teacher, the Rakshasa God Bai Bai Dong, your lover, the angel god Qian Renxue, and your 2 children are now in the Law Enforcement Hall of the God Realm. You and the Silver Dragon King behind you, you will come with us. According to what you have done, when you get to the law enforcement hall, the god realm will judge for itself. The god of kindness said in a polite manner. Then let's go. Chu Ye nodded to the two gods of kindness and life, and his attitude was quite friendly. He would not turn his face away if others were nice to him. As for his own problems, Chu Ye did not want to have too many arguments here. And this time, Chu Ye had to go. If he refused, he would be against the entire god realm. Not to mention the god of destruction, the god of Shura, and the god of evil in front of him. They would probably attack him at the first time. Even the god of destruction had the idea of killing people directly. If Chu Ye resisted, it would be equivalent to giving the god of destruction a chance, and he actually had no capital to resist. Now, let alone whether he could beat the 5 gods, any god king could subdue him. But Chu Ye had nothing to fear about the next trial. The current situation was not desperate, and there was still a way out. In this way, Chu Ye, Qian, and the treasure hunting beast were taken to the God Realm Law Enforcement Hall by the 5 gods. The God Realm Law Enforcement Hall is the place where all the gods who committed crimes in the God Realm are judged and executed, and they are judged here and then receive divine punishment. All gods can come here to observe. At this moment, the 7 elemental gods, the 7 original Sing gods, the god of emotions, the god of thunder, the god of time, and 17 first-level gods have gathered here. Behind them, there are nearly 1,000 second-level gods and third-level gods. It can be said that except for some gods who have tasks and duties and cannot leave temporarily, almost all gods in the God Realm have come to the Law Enforcement Hall. They all want to see how the God Realm will eventually deal with Chu Ye, the heir of the Dragon God. After all, this is likely to determine whether the future God Realm will accept the Beast Tribe and give the Beast Tribe the opportunity to become gods again. This is a huge problem for the current Douluo God Realm, and it may even change the future pattern of the God Realm. Therefore, everyone wants to know the final result. Among the gods, some remain neutral and feel that it doesn't matter whether the Dragon God reappears or whether the Beast Tribe can become gods, and they are more casual. A small number of people want to see the Beastmen return to the realm of gods, and they think that humans and Beastmen should be equal, and they should not stop the Beastmen from becoming gods, and they think that this is unfair to the Beastmen. Most of them do not want to see the Dragon God reappear, and the Beastmen can become gods, and they want to eradicate the Dragon God's successor. Comparing the 3 groups of people, the most people are opposed and neutral, while the supporters only account for a small part. Nearly 1,000 gods gathered together, talking privately, discussing, and having their own prejudices and ideas. It was not until the appearance of the 5 great gods that the scene suddenly became quiet. The people have been brought here. From now on, everyone should keep quiet. Shura God reminded, and walked slowly to the center with the other 4 gods, and sat down in front of the 5 god kings' seats. The first-level gods also took their seats. Let them enter the hall. Yes. Soon, the door of the Law Enforcement Hall was opened again, and Chu Ye's figure appeared outside the door, as well as the Silver Dragon King, Qian on the left and right. Chu Ye. At this moment, Qian's faces were obviously a little flustered. Chu Ye glanced at them and said calmly, "Don't panic, follow me." Yes. Chu Ye took a step slowly, followed by Qian, and the 3 of them stepped into the Law Enforcement Hall step by step. The eyes of the gods were all focused on them, and they were the focus of everyone's attention. Among the eyes of the gods, some were very calm, some were very excited, some were very disgusted, and even full of hostility. Some gods even directly exposed their killing intentions. Chu Ye looked directly at those hostile gods without a trace of fear or timidity, but he would not provoke them for no reason. After all, he had expected this result a long time ago. There must be many gods who want to see him die. Chu Ye sneered in his heart and stood in the center of the hall step by step. At this moment, those gods who wanted to see Chu Ye die were almost unable to hold back and wanted to speak out, asking the god kings to execute Chu Ye, but no one spoke first. Seeing this, the god of killing in the group of gods narrowed his eyes slightly. Sometimes what is lacking is a trigger, or someone who stands out. Now is a good time to incite everyone's emotions. The god of killing decisively stood up first and became the first one to stand out. Once one person stands up, the people behind will join in. This boy has a vicious mind and brutally killed the god of the sea. Such a person is a scourge and has seriously violated the laws of our god realm. He should be executed immediately. The god of killing suddenly shouted. As expected, as the god of killing said this, the emotions of those who wanted to see Chu Ye die were instantly ignited and they all started shouting. That's right. This boy not only disobeyed the law enforcement of the god realm, but also killed the law enforcer of the lower world, Lord Poseidon. Such a bloodthirsty and ruthless person who does not take the god realm seriously should be executed immediately, otherwise there will be great trouble. Also, how can such a person be qualified to become the next generation of dragon god? Yes. If such a person becomes the dragon god reappears, and the god realm accepts the beasts to become gods again, there will be endless troubles in the future. This boy will also ignore the laws of the god realm even more. If things go wrong, it will cause chaos in our god realm. Brother god of war, what you said makes sense. He doesn't take the god realm seriously before he becomes a god. If he becomes a dragon god and possesses a powerful dragon god, what will happen? The 5 great god kings, such cruel and ferocious villains, must be executed, otherwise there will be endless troubles. Yes. Execution. 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 Chapter 418 Chu Ye. Okay. If you have the guts, come and kill me. More and more gods began to speak, and their intentions became stronger and stronger. In the end, the gods collectively repeated the word execution. And these gods were also able to grasp the key points. One of the sentences really shook the ideas of those neutral gods, including the god of kindness and the goddess of life, who were also worried about this issue. That is, the problem of character and personality. In fact, for the god of kindness, the goddess of life, and those neutral gods, they may not care more about whether the dragon god will reappear or whether there will be a beast god in the future of the god realm. After all, this was the agreement made with the gods of the human race when the dragon god was beheaded. If Chu Ye became the dragon god, they would accept it naturally. But if Chu Ye, the current successor of the dragon god, is a cruel, murderous, and lawless evil person, then it is conceivable that such a person will eventually become the dragon god. It is not a good thing for the god realm. If it is an ordinary 3rd level, 2nd level, or 1st level beast god, it will be fine, but this is the position of the dragon god. A god of the king of gods. Even the 1st generation of dragon god has a stronger power than the 5 great god kings. If the future dragon god Chu Ye loses control, even if the 5 great god kings join forces, it will be difficult to suppress him. If dragon god Chu Ye still has the intention of conquering a god realm, dragon god, as the king of all beast gods, can easily mobilize all beast gods to follow, and eventually conquer a god realm. Even triggering the 2nd war between the human race gods and beast gods in the god realm. These consequences are all conceivable, so the person who eventually becomes the dragon god must be a person with good character and not so dark and evil. Therefore, this point is actually very important for the gods, for kindness and life, and even the key to affecting the thoughts of the 2 great god kings of kindness and life. According to the fact that the sea god brought 2 3rd-level gods to the lower world to capture Chu Ye, the god realm also made a certain understanding of that incident. The sea god was not only killed, but also died very miserably. His body, flesh, and bones were cut off in several pieces. His body can almost be described as being torn apart by 5 horses. If there is no grudge, and the sea god is killed so cruelly, then the murderer will give people the impression of being bloodthirsty, ruthless, and cruel. But in fact, when the 5 great gods first saw Chu Ye, they could feel that Chu Ye was not the kind of cruel, vicious villain. The first impression was that this kid was a little arrogant and cruel, but not evil. He didn't feel bad, but he was definitely not a good person, and he was both evil and good. But as the saying goes, you can know a person's face but not his heart. What kind of person is Chu Ye? Kindness and life cannot judge. Listening to the words and voices of the gods, Chu Ye was still very calm. He smiled and said, "You said that I don't take the god realm seriously, that I am bloodthirsty and ruthless. Why, you saw it with your own eyes? If I'm not mistaken, this is the first time I meet you, right? Don't slander me casually. You still dare to quibble. Humph. We slandered you. The sea god accepted the mission from the god realm and went down to the mortal world to bring you back to the god realm as a law enforcer. Not only did you ignore the laws of the god realm and resist the law enforcement of the god realm, you also brutally killed the law enforcers. The sea god died tragically and his body was cut into pieces. You have no grudges against each other. If you are not a ruthless and bloodthirsty person, how could you do such a cruel thing? If you had a little kindness, you would not have made the sea god so miserable. If you had a little respect for the laws of the god realm, you would not have killed the law enforcers. What else can you quibble with?" The god of death had a murderous look on his face and roared in the law enforcement hall, "I wish I could kill you right now and avenge the sea god." Chu Ye's eyes turned cold. As soon as he came in, this god of killing took the lead and stirring up the emotions of the gods against him. Until now, he has been using all kinds of words to mock and slander him, as if he obviously wants to kill him. Since this is someone who is obviously hostile to him, Chu Ye will not give him a good face. He said coldly, "Okay. If you have the ability, come and kill me." "Five great gods, this is not my fault. This kid asked me to kill him." At this moment, the god of killing suddenly had a killing intent. Without waiting for the gods to respond, he had already seized the opportunity and killed Chu Ye directly. But despite this, if the five gods wanted to take action, they could still stop him in time. At that moment, kindness and life also wanted to stop the god of killing's behavior, but the sure god intercepted him and said, "Don't worry, although the god of killing is powerful, it is not an easy thing to kill this kid. Let the god of killing shock his arrogance." Seeing this, the five gods no longer blocked him. "Arrogant and ignorant thing, you are looking for death, do you know that?" The god of killing had a murderous look on his face, and punched with the terrifying power of the god of killing, very fiercely. Although the god of killing is a second-level god, he is definitely the strongest among the second-level gods. His power is enough to compete with the first-level gods. Ha, this kid will suffer. Those gods who wanted to see Chu Ye die sneered in their hearts, waiting to see how Chu Ye was suppressed by the god of killing. Some even hoped that the god of killing could take this opportunity to kill Chu Ye directly. But just when the power of the god of killing was about to hit Chu Ye with a punch, Chu Ye's body suddenly rose up, and the extremely terrifying power of the dragon god. Chu Ye's face also showed a fierce look in an instant. "Ignorant thing, it's you." Chu Ye was extremely fierce and tough, and the terrifying power of the dragon god hovered on his fist. He also punched fiercely and hit the god of killing head on. "You dare to confront me head on, you really don't know whether you live or die." The god of killing looked disdainful. "Idiot," Chu Ye said coldly. Bang. Boom boom boom. The fists of both sides collided head-on. The collision of fists, the impact of the power of the dragon god and the power of the god of death, directly formed two strong energy fluctuations, and fought madly. Evenly matched. What? The face of the god of death instantly became ugly. Fuck. Even if this kid is the successor of the dragon god, he is only at the level of 99 mortals now, and he actually resisted the punch of the god of death. How is this possible? This scene directly shocked all the third-level gods and second-level gods present. This kid. The face of the god of death became more and more ugly, and he was also shocked in his heart. He knew that Chu Ye had some strength, but he could fight against him head-on without losing the upper hand. This made the god of death never expect it. Surprised? Ha, you are too self-righteous, god of death. Chu Ye's mouth corners rose slightly, and the next second, he shouted, "Get out of here." Bang. Boom boom boom. The two retreated at the same time. Chu Ye retreated 5 meters, and the god of death retreated 10 meters. Chapter 419. Chu Ye kicks the killing god, and all the gods are stunned. But while the god of killing was still in shock, Chu Ye had already launched the next round of attack. Although the god of killing reacted, he was half a beat slower because of the accident just now. But this half beat slower was enough for Chu Ye to seize the opportunity and take the lead. Chu Ye rushed over quickly, swung his arms, and smashed the god of killing with his upper arms. The god of killing used his right arm to block, but at this time, Chu Ye's other fist had already hit the god of killing's abdomen from below. Bang. Boom. Ah. Chu Ye's fist was merciless, and he hit the god of killing's abdomen hard. Then he raised his left leg suddenly, with a cold face. "God of killing! Who do you think you are? Get down!" Aga. Chu Ye's movements were extremely coherent and rhythmic, and he stomped his foot from the sky and hit the god of killing's back hard. Bang. Boom. Boom. Woo. The god of killing screamed loudly, and his body was knocked to the ground by Chu Ye's kick. He fell directly to the ground, and his whole head was smashed on the ground, crawling in an extremely embarrassed manner. F. What? The god of killing. The god of killing was actually knocked down by this kid. Oh my god. Is this kid so strong? All the gods were stunned, extremely surprised, shocked, and looked at this scene in disbelief. In fact, a large part of the gods still did not know much about Chu Ye's power. This scene directly shocked all the gods present. "Here, you still want to kill me? Just stay aside." Chu Ye sneered, glanced at the god of killing who was kicked to the ground by him, and took advantage of the opportunity. But the god of killing lying on the ground, his eyes were already red, and his face was full of angry veins. Damn it. I want you to die. The god of killing was furious, and rushed towards Chu Ye again like a madman. Chu Ye stood straight and motionless, silently looking at the god of killing who was rushing towards him like a mad dog. Go to hell. Just as the power of the god of killing was about to hit Chu Ye's face, a figure blocked in front of Chu Ye and instantly dissolved the power of the god of killing. Bang. Boom. The fist of the god of killing was easily taken by the god king of kindness. Enough, stop it. Good god king of kindness, the god of killing calmed down a little. God of killing, please go back to your position. The law enforcement hall is not a place where you can act casually. The god king of kindness reminded. I understand. The god of killing retracted his power, feeling extremely unwilling and aggrieved. He glared at Chu Ye fiercely, as if to say, wait for me, and then returned to his position. The 5 great gods originally wanted the god of killing to destroy Chu Ye's arrogance, but unexpectedly, the god of killing was beaten instead, which made Chu Ye's momentum even more powerful. After Chu Ye knocked down the god of killing, those gods who had threatened to execute Chu Ye were also shocked a little bit. Chu Ye's momentum instantly overwhelmed the gods with his own strength. The gods finally took the successor of the dragon god seriously, and they were vaguely afraid. Chu Ye sneered, his eyes looking around at the gods who wanted to see his death. Some gods subconsciously avoided his gaze when Chu Ye looked at them. That's right, some gods have been completely overwhelmed by Chu Ye in terms of aura and momentum. The evasiveness of their eyes undoubtedly proves the oppression and fear in momentum. This is exactly what Chu Ye wants to see. After this wave, the gods will definitely be a little quieter and a little afraid of him. I, Chu Ye, respect the laws of the god realm and am willing to abide by the rules of the god realm. But if you impose a crime on me for no reason, I will naturally not compromise easily. Chu Ye's voice echoed loudly in the law enforcement hall. You were accused of a crime for no reason, and you dare to say that? The gods were immediately displeased, and the noise sounded again. Okay, be quiet, and summon the god of angels and the god of Rakshasa to enter the hall. The Azure god said expressionlessly. Yes. Soon, Qian Renxue and Bai Dong were also brought into the law enforcement hall by the gods, and the 1.5-year-old Shu Han and Shu Zhu followed on their left and right. Seeing Bai Dong, as well as his wife and children, Chu Ye's resolute face finally showed some tenderness. The god king of kindness and the goddess of life both noticed the natural expression on Chu Ye's face, and the 2 god kings couldn't help but look at each other. Chu Ye turned around immediately and ran to Qian Renxue and the children. Little Shu Han and little Shu Zhu jumped up happily, and Chu Ye also squatted down, and they just threw themselves into Chu Ye's arms. Dad, Chu Ye hugged them gently, then touched the heads of the 2 little guys and said, you have grown up a lot without realizing it. Do you miss your dad? Yes, so good. Chu Ye touched their heads again, and picked up little Shu Han and little Shu Zhu in each hand. Swear, teacher, they didn't make things difficult for you, did they? Chu Ye asked concernedly. No, everything is fine for us so far. Qian Renxue said. That's good. Chu Ye nodded. This scene made the gods feel very warm and beautiful. No matter how they looked at it, Chu Ye didn't seem like the kind of murderous, ruthless villain. The god of kindness and the goddess of life looked at each other and seemed to have the same opinion. Enough. Chu Ye, the successor of the dragon god, Qian Renxue, the god of angels, Bai Dong, the god of Rakshasa, and the silver dragon king, now it's time for you to be judged. The god of destruction said majestically. Okay, but I hope my children can leave the law enforcement hall first. I don't want them to feel this serious, even malicious, conflicting scene. Chu Ye said seriously. This occasion is indeed not suitable. If such a young child stays here, what will happen in a while may have a certain impact on their young hearts. The god of kindness nodded and called to a 3rd-level god. Okay, you 2 take these 2 children out first and wait outside. I'm worried about them. Qian Renxue said, and shouted to the outside of the law enforcement hall. Xiaoxia, Xiaozi, come in. Soon, 2 female priests walked in. Chu Ye was a little confused and asked. Swear, who are these 2? The priests under the previous god of angels. Don't worry, they can be trusted. Qian Renxue explained. Okay, thank you for your help. Chu Ye looked at Xiaoxia and Xiaozi. Xiaoxia and Xiaozi smiled slightly. You're welcome, future Lord Dragon God. Just like that, Xiaoxia, Xiaozi, took Xiaoqin and Xiaochuxiu out of the law enforcement hall, and the 5 great gods did not stop them. Everything finally got to the point. Chu Ye, Qian Renxue, Bai Bai Dong, Ginyu, and stood in a row and looked directly at the 5 great gods. Soon, the scene entered the trial stage. Chapter 420. Chu Ye Court confronts the 5 great god kings. Do you know your crime? The voice of God Chu echoed, full of majesty. The atmosphere at the scene also became extremely serious and solemn in an instant. I don't know what crime we have committed. Please tell me, God Chu. Chu Ye looked directly into God Chu's eyes. God Chu also looked directly into Chu Ye's eyes. God Chu has always been very calm, and he can't see through it or guess it, but for some reason, Chu Ye always feels that the existence of God Chu seems to be not a good thing for him. Will God Chu want to kill his god? Chu Ye guessed in his heart. The God Chu in front of him is the most powerful god in the god realm today, and the highest law enforcer in the god realm. Whether in status or power, Chu Ye is very different from him. And just God Chu. The feigned aura actually makes Chu Ye feel extremely daunted in his heart, but he never shows it. He knows that he can't be afraid. He can't be intimidated by God Chu, which leads to an unstable mind. Okay, then this God King will tell you one by one. God Chu still had no expression on his face, and his majesty continued. Mortals cannot enter the God realm without permission. This is the first sin. I want to ask God King Chu, is there a clear provision in the laws of the God realm that mortals cannot enter the God realm without permission? Chu Ye asked very calmly. It seems that there is indeed no such law. Is there? I don't know either. The gods looked at each other and discussed privately with each other. In the eyes of the gods, mortals cannot enter the God realm without permission, just like it is a matter of course. You subconsciously think that I have violated the laws of the God realm, but in fact, mortals can't do it at all. Enter the God realm with their own strength. So maybe everyone has never cared about whether there is such a law in the God realm. I don't think the God realm will clearly stipulate this, right? So, what crime have I committed? Chu Ye looked at the gods. For the various crimes that will follow, he already has a general idea and understanding of that direction. Indeed, the God realm did not have such a rule before, but now it does. Chu God had a calm face, and then said, as the highest law enforcer in the God realm, this God King has the right to make laws. As long as they are reasonable and legal, they can be implemented immediately. From now on, mortals are not allowed to enter the God realm without permission. And you will also be punished. Ha 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 ha. Chu Ye suddenly shook his head and laughed. High and mighty law enforcer of the God realm, Chu God King, then you might as well sentence me to death directly. Can the rules established later also punish the pioneers? If so, people who obviously did not break the law will be punished because of the rules you set later. Gods who were not aware of it before. Chu God frowned slightly. He did not expect Chu Ye to dare to be so blatant. In court, are you not afraid of death? Don't you know that the existence of you who is now being punished is the most powerful existence in the God realm? Chu Ye knew it naturally, but he also understood that he had to be tough today. Being weak would be bullied even more miserably. Yes. God King Chu, this is not right. The god of fire, the god of emotion, and many second-level and third-level gods also stood up to speak. Seeing that the gods were still very dissatisfied, God Chu had to give up. Okay, you are not guilty in this matter, but I have the right to doubt how you entered the Dragon Tomb and whether you had the help of the Angel God and the Rakshasa God. Chu Ye knew what God Chu was thinking. The God realm had a rule that a first-level god could bring a family member to the God realm, but if you secretly took a mortal up and then down to the world like this, it would not be allowed. Chu Ye explained. My entry into the God realm has nothing to do with them. I have a space channel connecting the mortal world and the Dragon Tomb. This is the power given to me by the Dragon God. If you don't believe it, I can show it to you. No need, the Dragon Tomb is a forbidden place in the God realm. No god can enter the Dragon Tomb without permission. This crime is clearly stipulated. I want to see how you'll refute this matter. The god of destruction sneered. I found that everyone has overlooked one point. Can the rules of the God realm be used to restrain mortals? Chu Ye questioned. The god of destruction sneered and spoke loudly. The Dragon Tomb is the land of the God realm. You have also entered the territory of the God realm, so you should accept the constraints of the God realm. Okay. Chu Ye also spoke loudly, and his momentum was not weak at all. Then let me ask all the gods, I am the heir of the Dragon God and the future Dragon King. The Dragon Tomb is the place where countless dragon ancestors fell, and the land of the Dragon Tomb is the body of countless mountain dragons. And as the future Dragon King, entering the Dragon Tomb is equivalent to returning to my territory. Is there a problem with me entering the Dragon Tomb? The god realm is very large, but in fact, every god has a divine domain and territory that belongs to him, such as the angel god domain, the Rakshasa god domain, the sea god domain, and so on. If Chu Ye becomes the dragon god, then the dragon tomb will naturally become his dragon god domain. You. The god of destruction pointed at Chu Ye's nose and couldn't think of how to refute it for a while. Yes. Although the dragon tomb belongs to the realm of the gods, it belongs to the dragon clan after all. The gods once again heatedly discussed this matter. There was an obvious dispute about this matter. As long as there was a strongly controversial issue, it would not be easy to convict. Chu Ye took advantage of the victory and continued, "This is why we resisted when the gods first sent the sea god and 2 third-level gods to the lower realm to capture me. I'm innocent, why should I surrender? What's more, that sea god wanted to take the opportunity to kill me on the spot. If I didn't resist, I'm afraid I would have died in the hands of the sea god." Chu Ye was full of momentum. Oh my god, this kid is just a mortal. It's his first time facing the 5 great god kings and all the first-level gods present, including nearly 1,000 gods present. He is really not afraid at all. Yeah, it's okay if he's not afraid. Damn, this kid is so courageous and imposing. Why is he getting more and more imposing? Isn't he afraid or scared in his heart? Seeing Chu Ye's state and momentum, the gods were really stunned and convinced. If all the gods present were in their past, before they became gods, when they first met gods, they were very afraid of gods. Even if they ascended to the realm of gods, facing the existence of the 5 great god kings, most of them would instantly lose their momentum and feel inferior. Even if they have become gods now, most of the 3rd level and 2nd level gods dare not speak loudly in front of the god kings, and even lower their status and feel inferior. But in Chu Ye, there is no such feeling at all. Chapter 421. Exposing the crimes of the sea god. Nonsense. It's just nonsense. Why would the sea god want to kill you? Don't try to exonerate yourself here. The god of destruction said angrily. I'm not talking nonsense. King of destruction. Why would the sea god want to kill me? Of course, there is a personal grudge between him and me. Chu Ye's voice was also a little angry. He looked at the gods, and those gods who had just slandered him and defamed him became even more tough and domineering, and retorted those slanderous words just now. Who said that I have no grudges against the sea god? Today, I will once again expose the crimes of the sea god. And the grudges between him and me. The crimes of the sea god? What nonsense are you talking about? What crime has the sea god committed? The gods all looked at Chu Ye with puzzlement, but the calm face of the Azure god finally showed some changes, and his expression became a little gloomy. There is indeed another hidden story in this. The god of kindness looked at the goddess of life. Yeah. The king of life also nodded to the king of kindness. From the first impression Chu Ye gave them, and from Qian Renxue's entry with the 2 children, they could actually feel that Chu Ye was not the villain described by the gods. But if there was a personal grudge between Chu Ye and the sea god, then the sea god's tragic death would make sense. Chu Ye, the successor of the dragon god, tell me everything about you and the sea god. The kind god king said, giving Chu Ye a chance to explain. Okay. Chu Ye nodded. I think everyone should know that Poseidon, the god of the sea, is also from the Douluo mortal realm. He is a god who ascended to the god realm from the Douluo star. The god of the sea also has a place of inheritance in the Douluo mortal realm, the Poseidon Island. Chu Ye began to explain the whole story one by one, and continued. Almost at the same time as me, the god of the sea Poseidon chose a successor to the god of the sea named Tangsan. There is a deep hatred between Tangsan and me, and I must kill him. In order to prevent Tangsan from dying at my hands, and to be able to smoothly pass the throne to his successor, the god of the sea stopped at nothing and intervened in the affairs of the mortal realm many times. He even sent a priest under his seat to secretly go down to the world to kill me. What? Are you serious? The gods were shocked when they heard this. Chu Ye ignored him and continued. Poseidon even secretly injected his power into the sea god island, allowing Tangsan to possess the powerful sea god power in a short period of time, trying to eliminate me. I will not offend others if they do not offend me. If someone kills me, I will kill him. This is Poseidon's crime. The hatred between Poseidon and me. How could a god who wanted to kill me miss the opportunity to kill me in the mission assigned by the god realm? Therefore, Poseidon never thought of taking me back to the god realm, trying to wipe me out directly, and beheading me in the mortal world on the grounds of manslaughter. Let me ask, what is the problem with me cutting a god who tried every means to kill me and letting him die miserably? Let me ask, what was the crime of resisting the law enforcement of the god realm at the time? I did not resist, waiting for the sea god to kill me, and then harm my wife and children, my family, right? Chu Ye's words echoed in the ears of all the gods in the law enforcement hall. The scene was already silent, and there was only Chu Ye's voice left. The god of killing said in disbelief, "Nonsense. The sea god is dead, so what do you want to say? Naturally, no one will confront you. How can you prove that what you said is true?" Hilly. Chu Ye sneered, looked around at the gods, and finally his eyes fell on the first-level god, the god of time. God of time, don't you have the ability to extract other people's memories and let the memories go back in time? If you don't believe it, you can let the god of time extract my memory and see what the sea god did that day. You might as well see if Poseidon wanted to kill me at the time. God of time, please trouble you. The kind god king said to the god of time, wanting him to verify the facts. The god of time nodded and slowly walked towards Chu Ye. Chu Ye, the successor of the dragon god, in order to prevent your personal privacy from being leaked, you can recall the scene at the time in the sea, so that I can directly extract the memory of the time and go back in time. Thank you. Chu Ye nodded. You're welcome. The god of time said lightly, and the next second, a strange domain power instantly covered it. Time domain. Time rewind. Soon, Chu Ye's memory was pulled out, and it was played in front of his eyes like a picture, which was the scene of the sea god descending to the mortal world that day. Chu Ye recalled in his mind again the scene of fighting with the sea god's priests, including the scenes of the sea god seriously violating the laws of the god realm and interfering in the mortal realm many times to deal with Chu Ye. All of them were played out one by one. I think these are enough proof, right? Chu Ye said to the gods. The god of time slowly withdrew his power and fell silent. The memories that Chu Ye played had completely proved the sea god's murderous intentions and crimes. All the gods were stunned and silent for a while. The faces of each god was very wonderful. He actually said it was all true. Sea god, really did such a thing. The gods were unbelievable, surprised, shocked, and angry. No one expected that the sea god would do such a thing, such a serious violation of the rules of the god realm. It is a taboo for gods to interfere in the affairs of the mortal world, and they also send priests to the mortal world to kill people. This crime is very serious. How can this be? The sea god actually did such a presumptuous thing. I never thought that the sea god would actually, the sea god. He really deserves to die. Soon, all kinds of accusations rang out in the law enforcement hall. The gods cursed and blamed Poseidon, but some humble gods kept their mouths shut and dared not fart. Because there were many gods who secretly interfered with the mortal world, these gods were embarrassed to scold. The atmosphere at the scene suddenly became very strange. Chu Ye's supporters became more and more, and those gods who wanted to see Chu Ye die also looked ugly. Even the usually calm Shura god secretly clenched his fists, and a subtle expression appeared on his face. Because the gods knew that after Chu Ye's series of defenses, it was difficult to sentence Chu Ye to death again. It was even said that the death penalty was not too likely. But Shura god would never miss this opportunity to eradicate the successor of the dragon god. The Azure god had never been targeting Chu Ye. He simply didn't want to see the dragon god reappear, and he simply didn't want the beasts to return to the god realm. But after all, the human gods and the dragon god had an agreement. Due to his face, his identity, and status, he couldn't do it openly. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelers. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 422 Chu Ye. Okay, you bunch of gods, you all want me to die, right? Since it is impossible to directly sentence him to death, then God Shura will use another method. At this moment, the 5 great gods intend to discuss how to convict him, but God Shura insists on his own way. He suddenly said, although there is a personal grudge between you and the sea god, you cannot kill the sea god directly. No matter what crime the sea god has committed, it should be dealt with by the god realm. You can subdue him and hand him over to the god realm, but you cannot do it privately. You'll still be charged with the crime of killing the gods. The death penalty can be avoided, but the living crime cannot be escaped. When God Shura said this, Chu Ye had completely understood God Shura's thoughts. Shura, you. Destruction, evil, kindness, life. The 4 great gods also looked at God Shura. They all saw that God Shura also had obvious intentions against Chu Ye. God Shura's thoughts and inner thoughts finally appeared for the first time, exposed to the eyes of the gods. Gotcha, so you also want to kill me? Ha ha. Chu Ye shook his head and smiled, his fists clenched silently. After confirming Gotcha's attitude, Chu Ye felt the invisible pressure and began to surge madly. If the strongest god king in the god realm wants to die himself, then this Gotcha will make it twice as difficult for Chu Ye to become the dragon god. Perhaps, it will be the biggest obstacle on his way to becoming the dragon god. There is no doubt that this is definitely bad news for Chu Ye, and now he has determined who will be the enemy and who will be the friend among the 5 great gods. The god of kindness and the goddess of life are obviously fair, and the evil remains neutral. The god of destruction has long revealed his cards and wants to prevent Chu Ye from becoming the dragon god. And now Gotcha also has this intention. The situation is not too bad. That's right. Death penalty can be avoided, but living crime cannot be escaped. Dragon god successor Chu Ye must be punished. Must be punished, must be punished. 5 great god kings, I suggest that dragon god successor Chu Ye be directly punished with 5 layers of punishment, and then all his powers be abolished and imprisoned in the god prison for 10,000 years. The god of war shouted. The god of killing also stood up. I agree. We agree. We agree. We agree. We agree. As Azure God showed that he had obvious intentions against Chu Ye, those gods who wanted to kill Chu Ye also completely let go, no longer hiding, and seconded Azure God's idea. More and more gods spoke up in the law enforcement hall, and there were also a large number of neutral gods. After understanding the positions of Azure God and the god of destruction, some of them actually stood up and reconsidered. Although they are all god kings, Azure God's weight in the god realm is very high. Not only is he the strongest, but he is also the highest law enforcer. This identity alone is enough to make many gods fear him. In a short period of time, more than half of the nearly 1,000 gods present expressed their agreement. The scene was gradually becoming one-sided, and all the ugly faces and thoughts were actually counted in front of Chu Ye. Ha ha. The god of destruction sneered in his heart. The Azure God still had a calm face, slowly stood up from the throne of the God King, and said with great majesty, "Since it is the will of the gods, then, as the highest law enforcer in the God realm, I will hereby judge Chu Ye, the successor of the Dragon God, and he will bear the 5 layers of punishment, abolish all power, and be imprisoned in the God prison for a fixed term imprisonment of 10,000 years. The rest of the people will also be dealt with in a certain way." The goddess of life and the god of kindness frowned tightly and said unhappily, "Sure, God King, this punishment is too much. 5 layers of punishment, what is the concept? Even a first-level god may not be able to withstand the 5 layers, and a first-level god will be half dead if he doesn't die. Chu Ye is just a 99-level soul master, and even gods don't have it. What is the difference between the 5 layers of punishment and the death penalty?" God sure said, "King of kindness, king of life, once there is a disagreement in the god realm on some decisions, it is decided by voting. Now, all the gods are present regarding Chu Ye, the successor of the Dragon God. If you two have different opinions, then let all the gods present vote with us to decide. Shura, you. As a law enforcer in the god realm, how can you convince the public in the future if you do this? Kindness and life have completely felt that God Shura is determined to let Chu Ye die. Voting. What the hell? It is obvious that most of the gods at the scene want Chu Ye to die. There is no need to vote. Just one look and you will know the result. After the defense just now, Chu Ye can actually be convicted or acquitted. There is no problem. Even if he is punished, it will only be a light punishment at most. But now God Shura has set a 5-level punishment, which is obviously unfair. In this way, what fairness can be said? What rules can be said? It is completely abusing his identity to achieve the purpose he wants to achieve. Everything I do is for the God realm. I hope that the God King of Life and the God King of Kindness can understand." God Shura said, looking at the gods, and shouted loudly, "Gods present, please express your opinions. I agree. I agree. I agree too. I agree too." The gods began to express their opinions one after another, first God Shura, the god of destruction, then the 7 deadly sins, the god of thunder, then the 2nd-level gods, the god of war, the god of killing, and many 2nd-level gods and 3rd-level gods. One by one, they all stood up. The result was actually very obvious. The gods also knew that God Shura's decision would be recognized, and Chu Ye would definitely have to bear the 5th level of punishment. When those gods who wanted to see Chu Ye die stood up to express their opinions, they cast a smug look on Chu Ye's face, a mocking smile, and a look as if to say, "Ha ha, you're dead. Okay, you all want me to die, right?" Chu Ye stood there silently, looking at those ugly, hypocritical faces. At this moment, he suddenly felt how hypocritical and ugly this god realm was. The laws and regulations of the god realm were just a joke. He lowered his head slightly, clenched his fists tightly, and his eyes were already extremely cold and angry. He was suppressing the anger in his body. Chu Ye. Qian Renxue hurriedly took Chu Ye's arm. She knew that Chu Ye might explode, but at this critical moment, he must not be impulsive, let alone take action. Chu Ye said in a low voice, "Swear, don't worry, I won't force myself and everyone into a desperate situation." Chu Ye slowly moved Qian Renxue's hand away, took a step forward, and then raised his head little by little, staring at all the gods, with a few bloodshot eyes. "I agree. I agree too." The gods were still standing up one by one to express their opinions, but at this time, Chu Ye's pent-up emotions had reached their peak. He finally exploded completely. Chu Ye's rage instantly resounded throughout the law enforcement hall. He pointed at the gods' noses and cursed, "I agree with your mother." Chapter 423. Chu Ye was furious and cursed the gods. "I agree with your mother. You hypocritical gods." Chu Ye completely exploded, pointing at the gods' noses and cursing. "Don't pretend here, look at your weak, ugly, selfish, and righteous faces, it makes me sick. Want to vomit. What kind of heinous crime did I, Chu Ye, commit to deserve such a crime? Isn't it because I am the successor of the dragon god? Isn't it because you don't want to see the dragon god reappear, the dragon race revive, and the beast race become gods? Because you know very well what it means once I become the dragon god, but you can't say it blatantly breaking the agreement with the dragon god. This will make you, the so-called righteous, arrogant, and dignified gods, bear the name of perfidy and dishonesty. So, you have to stop it. You want to take this opportunity to put me to death. Am I right? Ah. Gods." Chu Ye's angry voice, word by word, resounded in the law enforcement hall. He completely exposed his cards, and cursed those gods with the toughest and most resolute attitude, and completely tore his face with those gods, not giving them a trace of face and dignity, and directly made it clear. It made no difference whether Chu Ye tore his face with these gods or not, they would all target him. Chu Ye had nothing to worry about. At this point, he had no choice but to use the toughest attitude to completely expose his cards with this group of gods, mobilize the emotions of those gods who might help him, and let them speak for him. Let them feel unhappy with those gods who were unfair and selfish and wanted to kill them, and even strongly accuse them. Only by provoking disputes among the gods again can Chu Ye gain more opportunities. Because he knew very well that he would definitely die if he was punished with the 5th level of punishment, and even if he really survived, he would become a disabled person, so Chu Ye would never accept such a result. Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. The faces of the gods were red from being scolded, and they were stunned, because they never expected Chu Ye to dare to be so crazy and arrogant, to scold the gods, and to be so naked, to expose their inner thoughts. All the gods present were stunned. This kid is really too brave. Too arrogant. Too crazy. But I am so happy. The god of fire was excited, and felt that his blood was boiling. He was very excited. Too hot-blooded. This kid makes my blood boil, it's so much to my taste, I wish I could pass my position as the god of fire directly to him. The god of water rolled his eyes and reminded in a low voice, "Hey, calm down a little." Not only the god of fire, but also the other 7 elemental gods, including the human gods who carried the beast gods present, and those gods who were truly just and believed in fairness and justice, also felt very relieved, even happy. Such a punishment was indeed too unfair for Chu Ye. He had been treated unfairly. It was nothing to vent his inner anger, dare to face those gods, challenge authority, and feel unfair for himself. Some gods also felt that what Shuragot and his men did was wrong, and their emotions were mobilized by Chu Ye. Those gods who agreed with the execution were so angry when Chu Ye exposed his true intentions so nakedly that they shouted in anger, You fart. Shut up. You keep talking nonsense. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha." Chu Ye laughed wildly. Chu Ye's laughter made all the gods look gloomy and ugly, and they all looked anxious. Chu Ye pointed at those hypocritical gods, shook his head, mocked, and roared loudly, "You hypocritical guys. What? You dare to do it, but you dare not admit it." Those gods who wanted to see Chu Ye die were also completely enraged. They were broken on the spot by Chu Ye's mocking words. Some of the 2nd level gods lost their minds and roared, "That's right. We just want to see you die. We just don't want the dragon god to reappear and don't want the beast tribe to return to the god realm. So what? The selfishness and hypocrisy in their hearts were exposed, causing some gods to break their defense on the spot and roared, carrying their own inner thoughts. This move made the Sure god frown again, and the god of destruction shook his head speechlessly. What a bunch of idiots. Hehe, then what are you still judging here? What's funniest, what are the laws and regulations of the god realm? You might as well just rush over and kill me. Come on. Chu Ye roared. Boy, don't think we don't dare. A large number of gods stood up, and dozens of powerful divine powers rose up, looking like they were about to rush up and take action. But at this moment, the god of fire rushed out first and stood in front of Chu Ye in an instant. The god of fire, who was considered powerful among the first-level gods, has ignited terrifying extreme flames all over his body, exuding powerful divine power of the god of fire, and looked at those anxious gods with disdain. Let's see who dares to take action. If you want to move him today, ask me, the god of fire, if I agree first. Chu Ye looked at the god of fire in front of him. He didn't expect that the first god who would stand up for him would be a god of fire whom he had never spoken to but only met. The god of fire is actually a person of true temperament, with his own unique character and personality, and his own bottom line. Seeing that his lover stood up, the god of water would naturally stand next to the god of fire unconditionally. The next second, the god of water also stood in front of Chu Ye. Following closely, the 7 elemental gods, the god of earth, the god of wind, the god of light, the god of darkness, and the god of space, who were always very united, also stood in front of Chu Ye. Sorry, this young man today, we 7 elemental gods will protect him. There are 7 first-level gods, the 7 elemental gods support Chu Ye, plus Qian Renxue and Bai Dong, who are also first-level gods, which means that there are 9 first-level gods standing on Chu Ye's side. With the fall of the sea god, the number of first-level gods in the divine world, including Qian Renxue and Bai Dong, is only 19. Now there are 9 first-level gods standing up to protect Chu Ye, which is already very powerful. And with the 7 elemental gods standing up, it finally gave courage to those gods who felt unfair, or those gods who wanted to protect Chu Ye. The few human gods in the god realm who carried the beast gods all stood up and rushed to Chu Ye. If you want to touch him, ask us if we agree or not. At this moment, the atmosphere was completely starred, and more gods stood up and stood in front of Chu Ye. The ratio of the two sides formed a 4-to-6 ratio, with 4 gods standing on Chu Ye's side and 6 on the other side. Chapter 424. Speak with fists and overthrow the god realm within 5 years. Thank you all. Chu Ye said gratefully from the bottom of his heart. He knew that the reason why he had so many god support was not because of his own personal charm. The words just now were indeed a fuse, but it was mainly because of the god of Sure and the unfair judgment of those gods. The gods felt that the laws of the divine world suddenly became nonsense, and they wanted to support the laws and order. This is one point, and another point is the attitude of the god of fire and the 7 elemental gods, which gave the gods the courage to speak out and protest. The god of fire raised his head arrogantly and looked directly into the eyes of the god of Sure. God King Sure, and all the god kings, today, if Chu Ye, the successor of the dragon god, is allowed to accept such a trial result, I, the god of fire, cannot agree. We don't agree either. The heart of the god of Sure has become completely gloomy, and the situation is becoming more and more complicated. The evil god, who had remained neutral and had said little, finally spoke. Sure, stop it. If you continue like this, it will be a complete mess. The scene was a bit stiff at the moment, leaving God Sure in a dilemma. He had just vowed to set a 5-level punishment. If he were to withdraw it now, it would be very disadvantageous to his status. But if he continued to insist on it, the fairness, laws, and regulations of the god realm would become a joke. As the highest law enforcer, God Sure was in a dilemma, but the god of destruction didn't care too much about it. He directly changed the subject and talked about another one. He sneered, "Ha, let's not talk about the trial for now. Since you have just revealed the god's inner thoughts, let's be clear. Then let's be frank today. I, the god of destruction, do not want the dragon god to appear. The god realm no longer needs the beast god." The god of destruction was completely relaxed. He no longer cared about anything. He was blatant and shameless. He ignored Chu Ye very arrogantly and continued, "I, the god of destruction, will definitely stop you from becoming the dragon god. We did have an agreement with the dragon god back then. Once the dragon god reappears, the god realm must let the beast tribe have the opportunity to become gods again. But we didn't agree that we can't stop it before the dragon god reappears. Boy, aren't you very crazy and arrogant? Okay. If you want to successfully inherit the throne of the Dragon God, let this God King and all the gods recognize you, obey you, and recognize you as the Dragon God, then you can speak with your fists. Defeat all the gods who disobey you. Defeat the 7 original Sin gods who sit under this God King, and defeat this God King. As long as you can do it, I, the God of Destruction, swear here that I will no longer stop you from now on. You, the God of Angels, the God of Rakshasa, and the Silver Dragon King, will also be exempted from all crimes. How about it? Arrogant and arrogant bear of the Dragon God. You dare to agree? The voice of the God of Destruction echoed in the law enforcement hall. The God of Sure not only took another look at the God of Destruction. Destruction, you. The Goddess of Life looked at the God of Destruction helplessly, sighing in her heart. She knew that even she could not persuade the God of Destruction now. The Goddess of Life and the God of Destruction are lovers, husband and wife. Generally, the God of Destruction will listen to and obey the words of the Goddess of Life on some big and small matters. But there are only some special issues where the God of Destruction will not compromise. If he is stubborn, no one can persuade him. For example, regarding the issue of the reappearance of the Dragon God. The topic has been made clear, and the showdown has reached this point, and it can no longer be ended. Is there any possibility of winning under these conditions? Forget about the 7 original Sin gods, but how can I defeat you and destroy the God King? Brother Chu Ye, don't agree. The God of Fire persuaded. Chu Ye took a deep breath, and a resolute look gradually appeared on his face. He looked at Qian Renxue beside him. At that moment, Qian Renxue had understood what Chu Ye was thinking, and she nodded to Chu Ye. Just by exchanging glances, they understood each other's thoughts. Chu Ye no longer hesitated, and slowly passed through the gods who were blocking in front of him and protecting him behind them, and came behind that God of Fire, patting him on the shoulder. Brother God of Fire, thank you. If I, Chu Ye, can survive this disaster, I will definitely repay you in the future. As he said, Chu Ye was already standing in front of the God of Fire, standing in front of all the gods who supported him. Brother Chu Ye, you, the God of Fire wanted to pull Chu Ye back, but looking at Chu Ye's hard back, he stopped. Why not? All right. Then let's talk with our fists. God of Destruction, tell us your terms. Chu Ye stared at the God of Destruction coldly and said loudly. Chu Ye. Qian Renxue's eyes flickered. Looking at Chu Ye's back confronting the gods, this scene suddenly reminded her of the past. When she was young, Chu Ye took her hand and kicked open the door of the Elder Hall. He rushed in holding her hand, confronted Qian Dalu, the 6 great priests, and all the titled Douluo elders, and made a 2.5-year agreement with Qian Dalu so that she could stay in the Spirit Hall and not lurk in the Tiando Palace. This scene is very similar to that of the past, but what is different now is that Chu Ye is now facing a group of powerful gods. Here. The corners of the Destruction God King's mouth slightly raised. You have courage and guts, very good. Listen, I will give you 1 year to defeat all those 2nd level and 3rd level gods who do not obey you. Within 3 years, defeat the 7 original Sin gods under the throne of this God King, and defeat me within 5 years. God of Destruction. Remember, I said this time is the time of the mortal world. It's that simple, kid, you still have a chance to regret it now, Hilly. The God of Destruction sneered, mocked, and ridiculed. Only 5 years. 5 years in the God realm is equivalent to only 5 days. In such a short time, it is impossible to be strong enough to defeat the God of Destruction. Brother Chu Ye, don't be impulsive. Even if you are the successor of the Dragon God, even if you can successfully inherit the throne of the Dragon God within 5 years, it is difficult to fight the God of Destruction. The God of Fire tried his best to persuade. As an old 1st level god, the God of Fire naturally knew that after just becoming a god, if he wanted to fully control the power of the gods, it would take time to transition and run in. The Dragon God is powerful, but the God of Destruction is not a pushover either. The most important thing is that even if Chu Ye becomes the Dragon God in 5 years, he can't immediately control all the power of the Dragon God. 5 years? Chu Ye naturally knew that it was unlikely, but he seemed to have no choice. Among the 5 great gods, the most recognized one is the Sure God. Apart from the Sure God, the other 4 gods are actually about the same in terms of combat power, and the power of the God of Destruction ranks 3rd. Although not as powerful as the Sure God, he is still an ancient god. Chapter 425. The Duel in the Divine Realm, Chu Ye's bet with the God of Destruction. The most important point is that the God of Destruction has great power in the God realm. He not only has the 7 original Sin gods, but also many second level and third level gods under him. He is the only God King who has a strong desire for power and status. In terms of status, power, and voice, he can be said to be second only to the god of Shura. He has absolute confidence and blatantly targets Chu Ye. Chu Ye did not doubt the god of destruction at all. If he did not agree to what he said just now, the god of destruction would blatantly deal with him and even find an opportunity to kill him. Because in Chu Ye's memory, the god of destruction will want to expand the god realm in the future, and then he will do it his own way, regardless of the obstruction of other god kings, and he will also force it to be implemented. He is such a god king who will challenge authority and rules. Therefore, Chu Ye is clear to this extent. Whether he agrees or not, he will eventually face the blow of the god of destruction, and perhaps this day will come sooner. Brother Fire God, I have to do this. Chu Ye shook his head, his eyes were extremely serious. Chu Ye, accepted it, but I have a request. During this period, we can enter and exit the god realm and the dragon tomb at will. Wait. I also have a request. Qian Renxue stood up at this time and stood beside Chu Ye. In the final battle with you, the god of destruction, plus me, the angel god Qian Renxue, we will join forces to fight you. God of destruction, do you dare to agree to our request? Do you think that you and this kid can be my opponent? How naive. The god of destruction sneered in his heart, and responded with great confidence and arrogance. What is there to be afraid of for this god king? Okay. I agree to your request. Ashura god king, evil god king, kind god king, Shielu, what do you think? Since Chu Ye, the successor of the dragon god, is willing to accept this condition, I have no objection. The evil god said. Let's do it. Ashura god nodded lightly. He was in a dilemma, the idea of the god of destruction. This gave him a way out, and he could also use it to get rid of the dragon god's successor. Because in the eyes of the Shura god, Chu Ye was simply impossible. To defeat the god of destruction, even if he knew that Chu Ye and Qian Renxue could work together to exert a powerful force, it was by no means impossible to defeat a god king within 5 years. Even without the god of destruction taking action, Chu Ye fell under the 7 original Sin gods, and in this process, the gods could have easily killed Chu Ye. Seeing that things were already a foregone conclusion, the god of destruction sneered in his heart. Arrogant and ignorant boy, I hope you are qualified to stand in front of me and fight me. Those gods who wanted to see Chu Ye die were also happy. One by one, they mocked loudly, and were eager to teach Chu Ye a lesson. Oh, you really don't know how to live or die. A mere mortal, you still want to defeat the gods. You still want to defeat the god of destruction, how ridiculous. How ridiculous, you don't even have the qualifications to stand in front of the god of destruction. There is no need to destroy the god of destruction, and the 7 gods of original sin, we're enough to knock you down. Do you understand? Boy. The gods were very arrogant and shouted at Chu Ye. Chu Ye scolding at them just now has angered a large number of gods present, and they all want to take action and trample Chu Ye under their feet. Whether I am qualified to fight the god of destruction, you'll soon know. Chu Ye clenched his fists tightly, his face was fierce. I will make all of you shut up, I will knock you down one by one and make you subdue. I will trample all of you so-called gods under my feet. Okay. We're waiting. The gods pointed at Chu Ye's nose and gritted their teeth in anger. They didn't expect that at this time, Chu Ye would dare to be so arrogant. They wanted to see how Chu Ye was going to defeat all the hundreds of gods who refused to obey. Oh, this kid is really looking for death. He dared to anger the gods like this. The god of destruction shook his head speechlessly. In this duel between Chu Ye and the gods, there was no saying that he couldn't kill him. He angered the gods. If everyone wanted to kill him, they could kill him. Let me remind you that fists and feet have no eyes. There'll inevitably be casualties and accidents in the battle. If you die in the battle, there is nothing you can do. Hearing what the god of destruction said, some gods had a flash of murderous intent in their eyes. Okay, let's go to the duel now. The god of destruction smiled. The duel field in the god realm is a place where the gods fight to resolve grievances. When the gods in the god realm have a conflict, and both sides are not right or wrong in the eyes of the god realm, and it has reached a point where it cannot be resolved, they can come here to fight to the death. I will go. Chu Ye did not plan to go there immediately. The god of destruction reminded him intentionally. Boy, don't forget, you must defeat all the 2nd level and 3rd level gods who oppose you within 1 year. This year is only 1 day in the god realm. I know, there is no need for the god of destruction to emphasize. Chu Ye said coldly. Here. The god of destruction sneered and left first. All the gods in the god realm also moved to the duel field. Soon only Chu Ye, Qian Renxue, Bai Dong, Ginyu, and the 7 elemental gods were left. Alas, brother Chu Ye, what can I say about you? With your current strength, how can you defeat those guys, the 7 original Sing gods, and even the powerful god of destruction within 5 years? You have to know that now they can kill you directly on the field. Although I, the god of fire, have never met you before and met you for the first time today, I like your personality very much. I don't want to see you die. The god of fire said helplessly. Brother Vulcan, now that things have come to this, I have no choice but to try my best to defeat them all. How can I know the result until the last moment? Chu Ye said. Well, okay, if you need any help, just come to me. I will try my best to help you. The god of fire sighed. Thank you. Chu Ye said with sincere gratitude. Take care of yourself. The god of fire patted Chu Ye on the shoulder and then left the law enforcement hall. The 7 elemental gods also left one after another. Only Chu Ye, Qian Renxue, Bai Dong, Ginyu, and the treasure hunting beast were left at the scene. Chu Ye, how confident are you? Although I don't know how strong the power of the God King is, judging from the aura emitted by the 5 God Kings, it is far beyond my reach. At the time, the 4 of us joined forces. In an extremely difficult situation, even when the sea god was careless, we killed a first-level god. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.